everybody. Welcome to the show. You know where you are, the International Women's Day with me, Tigo. And we are having technical issues. Our guest cannot get the link. So I'm going to ask you guys to just bear with me for just a second because something is going on with her live stream link. Hold on 1 second for me. I apologize. I don't even know how to get this out to her. And I'm wondering if everyone is going to have a problem because we sent these links out days ago and it seems like the link has been changed somehow. I do not know how, but we are going to figure this out. So you guys just hang out with me for just a second and we will figure this out. This is crazy. I am live sitting here trying to get a link out to someone. And you guys are probably cracking up going, Tigo, you've lost your mind. And I apologize. This was not what we had planned at all. Something is not right with StreamYard right now. And we're just trying to figure this out and get our guest in. Hold on 1 second for me. This is what now you know it's really live as I'm sitting here trying to figure this out. I apologize. Wow. It is crazy. Alan, can you come up, please?
I added the link to the chat.
To what chat?
Our chat.
No, you mean on Facebook? What chat are you talking about?
The private chat.
Okay, but if they can't get in, that's the problem. They can't get in.
Well, I sent it to you so you could send it to them.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do is send it to her. She's waiting in the wrong room. I don't know what to do.
Copy the chat to your text to her.
I can't get to StreamYard from my phone. That's the problem. It's a text.
Text her the chat.
Can you Facebook message me that text, that chat, that stream, that link?
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. We're trying to get this done.
You should have it.
Okay. So what we're going to have to do, and I hate doing this live, but what we're going to have to do is, Alan, we're going to have to send this to everybody for the morning, just in case they got the wrong link so they can log in.
That's correct.
Okay. Can you do that?
I don't have their info.
Oh, God. Okay.
I think I can. It'll take a second.
Okay. So go ahead and drop off. She should be dropping in. And we could at least get a few minutes with Dr. Kara. We got to figure out how to get this to everybody. There she is. I apologize, Lady Dr. Kara, you are here. I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. I don't know why the link is changed. I don't know if it's a StreamYard tech. but you are here now. And thank you so much for joining us for International Women's Day. You are amazing. Woo! I wanted to talk to you because, as your name says, Lady Dr. Kara Dentley. Recently, is it knighted? If it's a female, is it knighted?
It's still considered knighted, but it would be, instead of saying I'm a knight, I'm a dame.
You're a dame. So recently you were knighted. I never met anyone that had been knighted. I saw the photos on social media, the crown, the whole thing. I feel like I should get up and bow or something. It's absolutely amazing. Thank you so, so much. Oh
Thank
my
you.
goodness. Oh my goodness. So, okay, I got to ask you, you've got double science degree. You retired at 35. Then you thought, hey, I got a couple of hours free. So you got a nonprofit going on. You guys have your own network. And now you're Lady Dr. Kara and a mom. Let's not forget that. And a mom.
And
Where do you find time for you?
every day. Every day. I always make sure that at some time throughout the day that I make sure that I am definitely incorporated in my day. There are times when other things are more pressing, and I make sure, I have my parents, I have my husband, I have my son, I have my team. There's so many different things that are going on, but I make time for me, whether it's in the front end of my day or on the back end of my day, and that's what helped me to continue to move forward and take care of what needs to be taken care of. But I always take care of me first.
So on this International Day, International Women's Day, there are women out there that feel like they can do their 9 to 5 and they can deal with their son or daughter or their kids. And maybe they have time to deal with their husband or their significant other, and 4 hours of sleep. They don't feel they have dreams, they have hopes. They want one day be knighted. What would you tell them about getting organized to be able to move forward? Because you've done in a very short lifetime what other people haven't done in 70 or 80 years. So how do you do that?
There's so many things that we learn about skill set, about time management, all of these different things, scheduling it, planning it, having these planners. And if it was just that simple, then everybody would be on target and be on top of everything, because they sell planners a dime a dozen everywhere. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to make sure that you hold true to whatever values, whatever matters to you.
Mm.
What are your standards? Not the standards of the world or what other people think your standards should be, but you have to lock in on what is important to you, because that's how you prevent burnout. Many times people are doing the things that they think that other people think that they should do,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're adding all of these things to their plate, and it does not speak to their truth or
Right.
what they ultimately want for their lives. They're just kind of going, and people throw things on their plate and they're like, oh sure, and they're just adding these things, and then they're saying, well, what about me? Well, you are first and foremost, because you have to set forth what matters to you first, and anything that does not include that or does not lead you to more of that, then you need to learn how to use that two letter word, no or not right now.
No, or not now. She said, And then on top of that, health and wellness is super important to you. I see you on social media. You're in the gym, you're working out, you're checking some people that are saying they don't have time. Where do you find the time and the power to get up every day or every other day and say, you know what, no matter what, I'm getting this workout in?
Here's the cool thing about when you start working out, you find that you have more energy to work out. And so that's why now, like with the company that I'm with, we do a 15-day challenge. But in that 15-day challenge, I'm working out for 15 minutes to let people know you don't need an entire hour to work out. Plan
Mm-hmm.
it, say you're going to do it, set aside 15 minutes, and you may find, because most people, like you said, feel like they don't have the energy or they don't have the time. Within that 15 minutes, you may say, you know what, I actually have a little more energy to do 20 minutes or to add an extra 3 minutes, but it's the consistency, and it's making a decision to start. It's making that decision. So I'll work out with people for 15 minutes. If they feel like, you know what, I can keep going, keep going. I just want to plant the seed and just jumpstart you in that direction. And many times people will find the energy and the time to add more time if they see fit and if they want to.
I totally understand what you're saying. That's amazing. So I'm kind of frazzled because the link didn't work. And I'm like, what's going on? I have 15,000 questions to ask you, but I know that you guys have, and by you guys, I mean JD3 and the family and all of that. But what's next for you? Because I had the privilege of meeting you at Secret Knock a few months ago, and you were just on fire. You lit the room up. And I said, this lady, what does she do? And you came up, you said, hey, I've got this. And I was like, well, okay, you got to be on my show. What's coming up next for you?
Well, the release of my book will be coming out very soon. Stay tuned for that. And many, it's been in the works for a while. And I'll tell you why. Many times I think about how long it took Napoleon Hill to release many of his books. And that's how I feel, because I want it right. And my husband always tell me, do not let perfect get in the way. Don't let that's the enemy of good. Don't let that get in the way of just progress and getting it done and finishing. But I feel like we're at that finish line because the content that is there, I want it to be not just in the book, but received by the reader of the book. So, and I feel like we're at that point. So that's one of the things that's next. Also, my clothing line. The other thing, when it comes to material and it comes to the way that, especially when it comes to fitness, and because that's going to be the jump start. So I love my workout gear, but it makes me feel a certain way, and it has a whole logo and a whole design and a meaning behind it. So that's the next thing. And I have so many different templates of it. I have prototypes of what I want it to look like, but it's the feel. So I'm working with these different manufacturers to get the right feel, because I want it to be your go-to comfy outfit. It has to be, because that's how I feel. When I wear certain things, it's like, this is my go-to. And when I wear some of my garments, people are like, oh my God, like that is so nice. Where did you get it? And I'm like, this is my clothing line. So I'm kind of doing like a test along the way to see how people receive it. And I could be anywhere, young, old, it doesn't matter. Little kids, oh my God, I love your sweater. And we're on the airplane coming back, and a little girl was like, oh my God, I just love your sweater. I said, you know what? The way that your face lit up, that's what I want. And I was out the other day. Another lady was like, oh, I love everything on your shirt. She didn't even understand didn't even know what it meant yet. But just from the onset of just taking that first look. So that's the next thing. And I'm excited about that as well.
So before I let you go, one, I've got to ask you to come back and do a full interview, because we've got to go deep together. I apologize for the technical difficulty. I don't know what's going on there, but I'm going to put it on my shoulders. I've got to ask you, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
Everybody's been like, hey, happy International Women's Day. Or they'll say, this is Women's History Month. I'm like, every day is International Women's Day. But this is a day that we set aside to acknowledge, to uplift, empower, to just kind of remind women that you have it. Like, you got it. Everything that you need to do what God has called you to do on this earth is already in you. You want to make sure that you start surrounding yourself with women who are celebrating you, because that is so key. That is so important, because I always tell my husband, it's so funny, because every time I go into the bathroom, I come out laughing with somebody, and we're like the best of friends at that moment. Like, oh my God. And he's like, what happens in the women's bathroom? I'm like, so much conversations, you're trying to figure out how to turn on the faucet, lo and behold, if you run out of toilet paper, you're handing each other tissue, you become friends immediately. Like, things just start happening. And there are things that men just don't understand when it comes to that woman to woman connection. It's just a knowing. It's like magnetic. When it's someone who understands you, and you just have that innate conversation that is just present, that you don't even have to put a label to it. You don't have to say, hey, this is my friend, this is my sister, because it's just hey, we're just there. There's an understanding, which is why we're
Mm-hmm.
on this
Mm-hmm.
interview now, because we just connected. And when
So
your heart is
true.
in the right place, you just connect with people on a deeper level. So for International Women's Day, just understand that most women, we all just want the same thing: to be loved, adored, admired, respected, to know that we matter as moms, as wives, as business women, career women, whatever path you decide to take, as daughters. And it's just to acknowledge another woman. So that's what it means to me. So for all of the women out there, I love you. God bless you. Continue to just push forward. Surround yourself with other women that tell you that, girl, you are the bomb. Because guess what? You are.
I can't think of a better way to kick off International Women's Day broadcast marathon than with Lady Dr. Kara Dentley. For you guys out there that are thinking, how do I get in touch with Dr. Dentley? This is how you do it. You know what you do. You go to Tigo Direct, you type in Dr. Dentley, or you type in Kara, and up comes her contact information. There will be a box where you can send her a message. She gets your message and then she reaches back out to you. That's the easiest way to find everybody on International Women's Day. I thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning for a little bit. I'm going to beg you to come back and do a full interview because I
Yes,
feel really
fatigue.
bad.
Let me know. You know how to reach me directly, and just let me know. I'll and speak with you. And
You are the best. Thank you so much. And for everybody else, we'll be right back.
yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Expert Talk is sponsored by Pod Nation TV, the podcast to broadcast network.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Whew, we kicked off with a bang. The link broke. We're not going to talk about that all day because we got way more better stuff to talk about and amazing women all day long, including who's coming up next. I met this woman at Secret Knock, Prosperity Camp. I think I might have saw her at 7-Eleven. She has become a friend of mine. She's amazing. She don't take no mess when it comes to finance, budget. She's right here. Dr. Wendy Labatt has joined us.
Hey,
Hey, doctor.
Tico, how are you?
I'm amazing. We're trying to figure out what the heck is going on with this ding dang link, but that's okay.
That's all
We're
right. We're
here.
here.
You're
Yeah.
here.
And I was listening in on your last guest, Dr. Kara Dentley, and I love her to death. She's one of those kind of women that will straighten your crown if it's crooked. I love her. So I was happy to, get in on her presentation.
You're amazing, doctor, and I want to thank you for coming and joining us today on this International Women's Day. I've got to ask you, I know you're a speaker, you're a writer. We're actually in a book or two together, I believe. You're a financial legacy builder. But one thing that really strikes my heart is when you start talking about budgeting. Recently, the mask mandates have started to vanish from our hemisphere, and people are starting to get out. I'm guilty of it. I just came back from a vacation. People are starting to get out, and the budgets they planned while they were, being restrictive are kind of flying out the window. What do you tell people about budgeting and how to get through the day, the year, the decade?
Well, I get away from the term budgeting because people start putting their guard up when you say budgeting. So I say plan where your money goes instead of wondering where it went. And I give my clients the spending challenge because, you can spend some money that you don't realize you're spending until you focus on that. So, people are aware of what they make and, what their expenses are, but they don't track their spending. And when you say, well, I can't afford this, I can't afford that, take that spending challenge, which means to track every penny that you spend at least for a week. My clients do it for 30 days, but for at least a week. And you'll find, you're spending maybe $100 a week eating out, another, couple hundred getting your hair and nails done. And now I'm not against those things, but when money is tight, you got to really go back and see where it's going, and not just wondering where it's going, but, finding out where it's going and then redirecting those funds. So if you overspend on vacation, that's okay. Just get back on track and get that money redirected to where it needs to go.
Now, for some people who say, you know what, I live paycheck to paycheck. I don't know anything about the B word. We won't even use it the rest of the day, especially on International Women's Day. There are single moms, there are young families out there that's going, look, I'm just trying to figure out, diapers for Junior right now. I'm not even thinking about my future, my health care, anything like that, because you're not talking to me. I can't afford that right now. What do you say about that, doctor?
Again, check that spending, because we as women, we know how to, like my grandmother said, squeeze blood out of a turnip. So we know how to make that money work. You just have to be more conscious of it. And, now with, companies and businesses using, cards versus cash, you really spend just unconsciously. You just swipe and you're sticking it in, you're tapping, that card. So you don't really, you're not aware of what you're spending until after you realize you overspent. So, we as women, this is International Women's Month, we know how to make, squeeze that blood out of a turnip. So that's what I would say. You can afford it. You just have to, be more conscious of, where your money is going and plan where it goes instead of wondering where it went.
I know that my mother used to always talk about being able to bring home the bacon and fry it up in the pan, so to speak. And nowadays, that's not so rare. It's pretty much required.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too many moms get to stay home with their kids and watch them grow up. They got to go put those 8, 10, 12 hours a day in while they do it. In the middle of all of that and trying to make sure their finances are in order, they're hoping to be where you are right now, standing on stages, speaking to groups, being an author. What advice would you give someone who's just getting started and going, huh? What do I do?
Well, what I say is first, follow the spirit. If the spirit is leading you to do it, don't worry about the provision. If God is giving you the vision, the provisions will come, but connect yourself with people that are where you want to be, people that can, kind of give you that insight, that firsthand insight, because, people see you at your success level, but they didn't see you when you first started out. So, just don't give up, just, be conscious. But there's one thing I want to say to the previous question about what do I tell women that say they can't afford things? Take advantage of your points, rewards, and miles. That I'm about to do a course about living the VIP life that way. I was at McDonald's, especially for you single mothers, or not just single mothers, just people that like going to McDonald's. I was, I don't go there often, but I went and I had a taste for a filet of fish sandwich, but I kept seeing every time I go, I see this little, QR code with the app and everything. So while I was waiting in line, I said, let me go ahead and do this QR code thing. And they, the free offer or the deal was to get a free Big Mac when you spend $1. So I'm like, okay, forget this $7, $8 filet of fish meal. I'm going with the free Big Mac with $1 fries and $1 sweet tea. So, I ended up taking advantage of that. So people need to take advantage of those loyalty programs, because I don't care where you go, where you shop, what you buy, there's some kind of loyalty or rewards program attached to it. And you need to take advantage of it because it increases your income without you having to get a second job.
Ooh, she said, without you having to get a second job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've got to ask you, what do you do for fun? When you let your hair down, when you're not on camera and on stage, when you're not Dr. Wendy, but you're just hanging out, Wendy. What does Wendy do for fun?
Well, I hate to admit, I like to shop. I like to travel. I do a little gambling, So, I just kind of do whatever I feel I need to do to rejuvenate. I like to sleep because, sometimes your mind is going and you can't get that good rest. And then my dog gets me up in the middle of the night to take her out to pee. And, it's like having a baby that you got to feed in the middle of the night. But I just like to, unwind, do whatever I feel is what I want to do at the time. I'm at the stage in life where whatever I want to do, I'm going to do. I've earned that
Mm,
right.
I heard that. I heard that. So, what does International Women's Day mean to Dr. Labat?
Well, I just wrote an article for a publication about, Women's International Day, and I basically said women get things done because as women, no matter what your race, just the fact that your gender is female, you get things done. If something needs to be done, you get it done, and that's what it means to me. And I look at what's going on in Ukraine. You got women that have taken up arms that are fighting, against the Russians. So we get things done. And that's what it means to me, no matter what culture you're in, what country you're in, or what the circumstances are. As a woman, we get things done.
I've got about a minute, but I've got to ask you, fear is in everyone. We're afraid of something at some point. I know you probably have your moments too. My quick question is, how do you get past it personally? How do you get past the fear?
Well, I like I said, I tune into my spirit, to the spirit, because God doesn't give you the spirit of fear. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I didn't fear that because I said, okay, Lord, what does this mean? And he gave me a sense of peace that, if I wasn't as spiritually grounded as I am, I would have panicked, thought, oh, well, I'm going to die. But, my thing is I always tune to the spirit, turn to God, and I always get comforted from fear.
Dr. Wendy, you're a part of our ET family, and I so appreciate you being on the show and now being a part of International Women's Day. We got some other surprises coming down the road with you. You're an amazing woman. It's an honor to know you, and I thank you so much for hanging out with me on International Women's Day.
Well, thank you. And it's an honor to know you as well. And I love you, and happy International Women's Day. And thank you for putting on this platform, because we as women need to, hear from other women and see what other women are doing. And like I said, straighten up the crown of other women if it's crooked, and stop hating. Stop hating on people, But
I totally
yeah.
agree. I totally agree. Thank you so much and have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Hey, welcome back to International Women's Day broadcast marathon with, you know who I am. I'm Tigo. We've got 29 women coming today. We're going to be on all day, and who we're wrapping up with, you do not want to miss. Am I going to tell you who's coming? I might give you hints. But right now, what's about to happen is a woman that is on fire. She picks career, does it. Family, does it. And then decides, hey, I'm going to tackle real estate on top of that too. This is amazing. Dr. Wah is here today. Hey, Doc, what's happening?
Hi, Tika. How are you?
I am amazing, and even better now that you're here. What's going on with you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm traveling with my little girl on spring break.
You wait a minute. See, now she gonna be out for me. You took out time from her spring break to hang out with us?
Absolutely.
This is fantastic. This is fantastic. You tell her I said thank you, and she's soon to be an international woman. She's an international young woman right now. So I hope she's watching Mom and hanging out. I want to ask you, you go to medical school, become an eye doctor, open practices. That's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy. then you decide to expand past that. What made you decide to be an eye doctor in the first place?
When I was younger, I always used to go with my mom to her eye doctor appointments. I grew up working by the age of 10. So I grew up in the restaurant business, and that's a hard industry. I mean, that's 16, 18-hour work days. And no one in my family was ever a doctor yet, first generation come to America. And so that was my dream. I was like, I want to become an eye doctor. I want to serve patients and go into, so in college, I worked at a little optical and helped the doctor there. And he recommended that I should consider, being an eye doctor as a career. And I said, absolutely. That's what I want to do. And so I committed to it, long days, long nights of studying. And I said, that's what I'd love to do,
That's amazing. So you open your own practice, because a lot of people that are in the medical field, eye doctor, ear, nose, and throat, whatever specialty they decide to do, they're in that field. You work for years to get there. Most never go out and start their own practice. They just stay working for the blah, blah, blah center with a lot of names on it. What made you decide to not only go into this field, but say, you know what, these four walls are going to be mine? What made you make that choice?
My mom, she in Vietnam did not have the opportunity to go to school because she was a girl. And so my dad passed away when he was, when I was 13. So she was a single mom raising 3 kids. And I echo what she always told me. She didn't care what I pursued, but she said, follow your heart, follow your passion, and be your own boss. So that always stuck with me, And so that's what I always like, okay, she didn't care if I became a doctor or not. She just wanted me to be happy and passionate in whatever I'm doing. And she goes, be your own boss, because that's what she did. No formal education, coming here, she didn't know how to speak, drive, anything. And she opened 6 businesses.
Whoa. Wait,
right?
hold on. Right. Now that's an international woman.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Doesn't know how to read.
That's amazing.
Single mom of 3 and opened up 6 businesses. So I was like, if I have all these opportunities here in the US, I want to take full advantage of all the resources. Absolutely.
So, that brings up something else, because so many people stop themselves because of fear and because they go, I can't. It's not for me. And, that's somebody else's dream. That's somebody else's life. They're not talking to me. And then they hear she can't read or write. She couldn't speak English, I'm assuming. And she opens 6 businesses, and her daughter ends up being not only a very successful doctor, but we got to get into your quote unquote side gig. What would you tell somebody that says, oh, it's not for me? I want to do bigger things, but I just can't.
And that's the biggest part. It's the belief in yourself, the mindset, the faith, the grit. That's all it takes. And, and so I always had it in my mind when I saw other people do things. And I would always say, well, if they can do it, why not me? Why not? Right. And so I truly believe that. And it's so important that, because that's 80%, we always talk about 80-20, 80% mindset. And it is so true. It's writing it down, affirmations, visualizing it, and it comes to reality. You make it become into reality. Baby steps. And I always just say, I don't know how, but I know my why, and baby steps, 1 foot after another. And I gradually and slowly will get there.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, you're an international woman. You have this successful practice. We hinted at your side gig, but it's way more than a side gig. I mean, you got into real estate investing, and if I'm reading your bio right, you're have ownership in over $300 million worth of real estate assets. Really?
So this is not my side gig. What started off originally as just having diversified passive income, transitioned to a full-time. This is really, my real estate space is actually more of my time than what I actually practice. I used to work 60, 70 hours a week in my own practice, and I have 2 practices. And now I see patients twice a month by choice. And then most of my time is through real estate, investing. And so I help now other families passively invest into these real estate. And it allows me the time with my daughter and the flexibility. And it's like financial and time freedom combined to really be able to do the things I'm passionate about doing. And that's why what initially started off as kind of a side thing became my full-time career now. And I love still seeing my patients, and I love the real estate space.
You know me, I got to be silly. So you turn the doctor, your practice into a side gig, and I got to be silly. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. So if somebody is out there, because we've heard of multi-door, we've heard of investing groups, we've heard of all of that. If somebody is out there and they're just dying to get into real estate investment, especially maybe a mom, maybe another female doctor that's listening, where would you tell them to start?
You know, education is so important. And I always tell people you have to invest in yourself. You have to invest in the education. There's a lot of noise out there, you know, and you can get really lost in the convolution of what's out there. So I always say the biggest thing and best thing before you get into the world of real estate and investing is really spending the time and having the due diligence to follow someone who's successfully doing it with an experience and a good reputation. And I have plenty of mentors and coaches. And most of my life, whatever category, whatever I'm doing, I always have mentors and coaches that I invest with, because they will collapse that learning curve and minimize the mistakes.
My goddaughter is out there. She's sending a shout to me right now. And she's in Chicago. I watch her on social media. She's a mom. She's working every day. She's going to school. You know, I know she has amazing big dreams. Would you say that if you're a young mom, you need to wait until the kids get older, or just start building your dream one little brick at a time?
Build it young. The younger, the better. And one brick at a time. And you have to really, regardless of what financial situation is, mom or not, but sitting down and actually strategically planning out the numbers, analyzing, we say the personal financial statement, write out your income, your expenses, budgeting. What you measure, you can improve. And so if you really invest and take a small portion, and how to create more sources of income, how can you increase just a little bit, and how can you save a little bit from the expenses, and that little extra cushion you start putting aside for investing. And that's something I learned at a very young age. So people go through lifestyle inflation. The more people make, the more people spend. So if you can, wherever you are, that little block, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. But if you can strategically and be committed to that and have discipline in that, it doesn't matter where you are. You can make it financially.
Okay, you got to say that again. The more people make, the more people what?
Spend.
Oh my goodness. Now, is it possible in 2022, we're coming out of this whole COVID thing, quote unquote. We hope that we don't turn on the news and everybody says, oh no, put the mask back on. Is it possible in 2022, after a pandemic is starting to fade out, to build a very successful business? Or is that opportunity kind of gone away with a lot of other things that happened during this?
There's so many different opportunities out there. I heard Sharon Lecter, and she was talking about, passion plus talent times association times action plus faith. So everybody has something that they're really good at and what they're really passionate that they can monetize and make a living. So I don't believe that, what's happening in the economy, that, you don't have anything to do. I don't believe that, and I think the more that you are in tune to the little time that you have, I call it thinking time, to really high level evaluate where you are. And you always pivot and adapt. But I always believe that you have a talent. Every single woman and every single person out there has a talent and a passion that they can bring out and that they can monetize on. I truly believe that.
Well, Doctor, before I let you go, one, I've got to tell you, it's been amazing to know you. We met at an event. We met at Secret Knock. We met at Prosperity Camp. And they're going to hear that a lot today. Yeah, y'all going to hear that a lot today because they're amazing people at Secret Knock and Prosperity Camp. And if you haven't been there, you might want to try to get there. But I want to talk to you and thank you so much for being a part of this and being a part of our family. What does International Women's Day mean to you personally?
First of all, thank you, Tigo, for having me on. But International Women's Day, what we're doing right now, the platform that you are giving and having women come together to celebrate internationally and uplift and encourage one another and inspire each other, to me personally, that's what International Women's Day is.
That's amazing. I thank you so much, Doctor, for hanging out. I'm hoping I'll see you in a couple of weeks because Secret Knock's coming around again. And I hope you'll come back and be a guest on the show at a future date. We can go even deeper and deeper on, your two-side gigs that happens to be changing the world while you do it. And tell your daughter I said thank you for sharing your mom with us for just a few minutes today.
Thank you. Bye.
I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Emmett, do you want to play with me? Yeah, I can't play right now. I'm doing show notes.
And welcome back. Welcome back. I'm so excited to be here. We're going to keep it going, y'all. We got 29 women to see. We're going to keep it going. We are going to break for lunch, though. Hold on. Tico's not that much of a super person. I'm going to go eat. Y'all know I'm going to eat. So we're going to go until about 12 o'clock. Then we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back at 1 and do the second half. So, yeah, this is amazing. Now, coming up next. Coming up next, we're going to talk about sparks. We're going to talk about breaking free. We're going to talk to Allison. Hey, Allison, are you out there?
Hey, I'm right here. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you? How's your day? Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm having a great day. Just here, International Women's Day. Looking forward to this conversation.
I'm looking forward to it as well. And I've got to ask you, I know you are a coach, you're a consultant. You help us break through these invisible blocks. But if they're invisible, how do you know you have them?
Well, that's a great question. I'm a mindset coach to mindset coaches, and I'm also a business coach. And I believe that business is a holistic experience. Okay. So, for example, a lot of people think that you need the funnels and you need the strategies and the tactics in order to really convert your audience and make those sales. However, what's going on inside is super important as well, because that's how you show up. That is how everything you execute in your business is determined by your internal state. So generally, one of the rule of thumbs that I use is that if you're working on something and say it's not going well for say 6 months, there's something going on internally, right? Because in business, it usually only takes about 90 to 120 days to get something going. But if it's taking longer than 90 to 120 days, it's time to start looking at what's going on inside of you that might be driving those external results.
You are so right. I got to agree with you. You know, I've been in business now. I don't, hold on one second, technical issue. I've been in business now for a long time. I started my first business when I was 10, but almost every day I find myself trying to break through something that's usually in my mind that's stopping me from going to that next level. And I know that most of our self talk is negative self talk, and we're trying to figure that thing out. When you stand on a stage and you're talking to an audience, you have a wide range of people in all different positions going, she's talking to me. How do you connect with your consulting clients so they feel free to open up to you and truly let you know what these blocks are?
Yeah, well, you know, I think it's really in being genuine, being authentic. Uh, People generally can see who you are, right? And it's about that connection. It's about that deep authenticity. In fact, last year, 2021, my theme for the entire year was deep authenticity, right? Because for a long time, right? So I've had this sort of dual identity in that, you know, I'm a business coach, I'm a mindset coach, I do all these professional things. And then the other side of me is that I also used to be on a Latin dance team. And so,
Awesome.
so,
I need to play
so
some music.
So for years, I separated those two lives. And I decided last year, I was like, I'm going to merge those two lives. And I don't really care if people like it or not. And people actually loved it. And people didn't know that about me. And it just made everything so much nicer. So I think that there's like this belief in business that you got to be like so professional and and set all those boundaries, but that is the business of the past, right? Nowadays people want you to be real, people want you to be authentic, they want to know that you have the same problems as them, they want to know that, you know, I think you can feel somebody's heart if it's in the right place, you know? So it's about just showing up, living your truth, you know, being in that power, letting everyone else know that they have the same power, and just telling your truth, being deeply authentic, right? Because, you know, the truth is something that I think is so undervalued. You know, I remember last year the platform Clubhouse came out, right? And there was this all this hype about people who were brand new coaches and consultants acting like they had all this experience and all these followers,
Right.
and people were buying their following and doing all these crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality is there's value in being a newbie. Just be real, right? Think of all the opportunities you shut down by not telling your truth and not standing in the place you truly are in. Maybe somebody is looking to connect with a new coach. Maybe somebody wants to interview new coaches, and there's all these opportunities, and you just throw those out the window because you're here saying you're a veteran, and maybe even made a fool of yourself because then when somebody asked you a question, you didn't have anything to back it up.
Now, I know you have a success formula that helps people achieve big results. It's called Spark. What does Spark mean?
Okay, so I've actually moved on to another formula. I do use
Uh-oh.
I sometimes use the Spark formula, but I often what I actually use now oftentimes is the mindset mastery formula.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
listening. Talk to me.
All right. So it's about business mastery, it's about self mastery, and it's about wealth mastery. Okay. So in business mastery, we need to know who we're speaking, who, you know, who is that person that we can help the most? How do we speak to them? How do we grab their attention? You know, how do we let them know that we are the person that can truly help them, right? Then it's about really being able to let go of all those money stories, know your value, know who you are, know what you bring to the table, know your truth, because a lot of people get caught up in sales and money stories. They believe that sales is sleazy. That's one of the beliefs that I see the most. Um, you know, the truth is that sales is a means of transformation when you are in the coaching and consulting world. Sales can change somebody's life night to day, right? But we're stuck in the old stories from our childhood, from that, you know, that car salesman who sold our mother a bad car, right? And all those old silly stories, right? But the reality is sales is something totally different now. And wealth is a way that it's a tool to help us change the world, right? Because the more wealth we have, the more resources we have to do those important things and reach more people. And then, of course, we really have to stand in our power. We have to realize the truth about the imposter syndrome, that that's not who we really are, that that's an old story. We're taking the past and we're applying it to the present, right? Maybe you didn't make the basketball team, maybe you didn't make the cheerleading team, and you drew the conclusion that you weren't good enough and that you don't belong. And now here you are starting your business going, I'm not good enough, I don't belong. But it's just an old story, right? So those are just a couple snippets. I mean, my mindset mastery formula is pretty in depth, but those are sort of a couple of the quick snippets of it.
So if somebody is watching, because a lot of that stuff starts when you're in school, elementary school, high school, middle school. If someone is watching and they're a teenager, maybe they're watching with their mom, it's International Women's Day, and they're going, maybe she's talking to me. How do you get a control of that positive mindset when you're 14, 15, 16? What do you do?
Well, I think it's about really, and this is where one of the biggest challenges we have, because when we're growing up, we're taught to please people, right? We're taught that we got to do what our mom says and what our dad says and what our auntie says, and listen to our teacher, and even if we don't agree with her, we got to do what she says, right? So it's about being able to balance that with your truth, right? So you have to be able to realize that we're all just humans, and we're all trying to learn and do the same things. Just because somebody is older than you, they may have more wisdom than you, they might not. So it's about being able to differentiate and balance the messages that you're getting externally with your truth internally. And I think we need to do a better job, really teaching our kids that they are amazing. And even if your teacher doesn't think that you are, that's about her, not you.
Wow. Okay. Before I let you out of the seat, I got to ask the question. What does International Women's Day mean to you?
That's a very interesting question, because I'm originally from Providence, Rhode Island, but I moved down to Florida about a year ago. And I've had a completely different experience down here as a woman compared to what I had up in Providence. And it's really been a huge reminder that women are not always equal, right? In fact, for the very first time, I went to a networking event last week, and I was talking about what I did, and a guy said to me, well, who do you do that for? And I was like, myself. Like, I was like, is this a serious question?
Wow.
I was never asked something like that ever before at a networking event, but 90% of my networking history is up north in the Northeast, right? So it's a very different culture. And that's just one of probably half a dozen stories in the past year.
Wow.
But it's been a huge reminder to me that women were not always equal, and that we are still up and coming in terms of showing people what we're really about, right? So I believe women are meant to rule the world, and we've just got started. So I mean, I think International Women's Day is a wonderful thing, and I confess that I often forget that women have not always been equal to men, and we have had to really fight to get that equal opportunities, and just to be able to be seen equally on the same platforms, right? We still haven't seen a woman president. Ironically, when I was in first grade, I told my teacher I'd be the first lady president. So, hey,
Let
maybe
me
it'll
know
still
when you're
happen.
running.
I
I'll
will.
break the story when you let me know when it's happening. I'll break the story.
All
I want to
right.
thank you so much for coming on and joining us for International Women's Day. It's been a crazy morning. Somehow the StreamYard link is going nuts, but we're figuring it out, and you are absolutely amazing. I still think Spark is cool, and I want people to know Spark is cool. I want to invite you to come back and be a guest later. We can go further and deeper, but for now, I hope you enjoy the rest of your International Women's Day. And I'll talk to you soon, Allison.
Thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
Thanks
I'll
for
talk to
being
you soon.
here.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi there, I'm Peggy McCall, New York Times bestselling author and manifestation mentor. And I am the proud winner or recipient of the Network of Outstanding Women Woman of the Year Award for 2021. And the reason why I created this video is because I just wanted to share with you what an extraordinary experience it was being nominated and of course winning and being a part of something that's truly extraordinary. Throughout my career, I've been very blessed to network with some amazing individuals. And of course, being a part of this organization has really invited such a wonderful opportunity to share, to learn, to grow, to contribute. And that's what I believe that this opportunity does for every single person that's involved.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. That was a little teaser of our Now Honors coming up. Last year, we did it virtually. This year, we're doing it in person, live in Las Vegas, October 14th and 15th. We're honoring 15 women from around the world. A few of them you're going to see come through today. So we'll acknowledge them today as some of the honorees that are coming up for international. For the Now Honors in October 14th and 15th. And around the Now Honors, we are doing our first ever The Power of Pink Summit for 2 days during the day on the 14th and 15th of October. So I hope you guys can hang out, enjoy, come to Vegas, hang out with us, because that is a live in-person event. And we are pulling out all the stops for that one. But for right now, we got to get back to the show because it's almost 9:45, and that means that Marcy is here. And I'm sure she's going to talk to me about fitness and life. Hey, Marcy, what's happening?
I am doing awesome. How are you, Tigo?
I'm okay. I'm just getting started. It's a marathon. It's what do they say? It's not the race. You know, it's like
Yeah,
I'm not sprinting, I'm running.
I hope you have
So
your water next to you because I know what it feels
I
like.
do, Coach.
Long.
I
Yes.
do, Coach.
Awesome.
I do, Coach. Hey, Marcy, how are you? What's going on with you? How's your day going?
I am doing fantastic. You know, a lot of people have been asking me how I've been doing lately because all of last year I was filming a reality TV show called Ace in the Hole, and it was not for the faint of heart. And I was shoving 3 years of business growth into 6 months. And man, I'm just so glad that it's over. I'm so glad that I can breathe a little bit and really just like bathe in all of the progress that I made. So you can see I have my book. My book came out, The Accountability Code, Wake Up and Show Up. And now I'm just, having fun spreading the word. And my book launch party is tomorrow. So that's what I'm doing. Just getting ready for that, putting all the logistics together. And
Okay, wait. So you just threw me off because grab that book again. I heard it clunk. Books don't clunk anymore. Is that a hardcover?
it is. It is.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I told somebody I wrote a book and they're like, oh, you co-authored how many people? And I was like, no, this is mine. Like, this is my 5th baby. So not my 5th book. I have 4 children, but this took 40 weeks. So this is my 5th baby. So yeah, I'm super proud of it. And a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and swear words went into, well, not into the book, but the process.
I was going to say, if there's swear words in it, I'm reading it.
Yeah, no, sorry, there's no swear words in it.
So what's the title of the book again? Let's give it to him one more time.
The Accountability Code, Wake Up and Show Up.
And what does that mean?
So my job as a life and fitness coach is to help you connect your mind and your body so that your body never holds you back from living your true purpose. Because we all have dreams, we all have things we want to do, but what do we say? I'm tired, I don't have time. Excuses come, and really you can't ignore the fact that your body is your vehicle for taking you through this life. So my favorite quote is, true happiness comes only when our spirits learn to control our bodies, training them to be governed by the laws of God. So ultimately, you have to be in a place where you can listen. You can listen, and then your body can act. So Wake Up and Show Up is all about not just participating in your life, but creating the life that brings you to who you want to be, and love it every single day, because you can't escape yourself.
So let's talk about that. It's International Women's Day. There are women from all over the world of all ages, all fitness levels, all dreams and hopes and fears across the spectrum that are watching this right now. And they're going, okay, accountability, I get that, but I don't know how to get out of my own way. I don't know how to get started, Marcy. How do I get started?
Yeah, so the very first thing I teach you is how to pay attention to the messages that matter. So I was in a business meeting last week and somebody said, you wrote a book on accountability. Like, you have to be on top of your game, like, all the time. Like, how does that feel? And I'm like, we all are being accountable, whether we like it or not. Our body knows what we're doing. Our business knows what we're doing. Our family knows what we're doing, even if we're not ready to admit it. So the accountability code is a 6-step process that helps you really recognize which messages to pay attention to, because when you're aligned, the messages that you need to act on become easy and clear. So in the fitness world, you have people telling you, oh, you need to do this, you need to eat this way, you need to do this. And it's like, what if I don't want to do that? What if I hate doing that? So the key is finding what to be accountable to, and then you'll find that it becomes very easy and simple when the action steps are right. So my job is to help you break down your goals into actionable steps that are customized 100% for you, because not everybody's the same. Like, things that you care about are going to be way different than things that I care about. And no way do I want to be held accountable for anybody else's standards.
So you're a life and fitness coach, correct?
Yep.
What comes first? Day-to-day life, fitness?
I think that's a good question. Nobody has ever asked me that. So,
hey, all right.
I think life has to come first, because it doesn't matter what you look like if you hate yourself. Like, you have to be so in love with yourself in order to take the right action steps physically. However, the 4 basics of health are sleep, self-care, water intake, and movement. So if you are trying to cheat those basics of health, your life is going to take a downward turn. And so my job is to help you say, hey, what are you most motivated to work on? Movement, mindset, or nutrition? Okay, let's start there. If you're motivated to work on something, that's the very best thing you should do next.
I love that. Now, somebody is sitting at home and they said, wait a minute, did she say she had 4 children?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you find time for everything that you're doing and you've got 4 children?
So there's a secret sauce, and it is an amazing partner. And every time I hear International Women's Day, I just laugh, because my husband's name is Aubrey, and he got mail for International Women's Day because, he's got a girl name. And I just, when it comes to everything I do, like, I just have such a solid support system that enables me to go and do what I want to do. And so there's a way to create a support system, though, when it comes to accountability, because I have been nicknamed your loving kick in the pants. And I would be 100% lying if I told you I did all this on my own. Like, there is absolutely no way any of us becomes amazing and great without the help and inspiration and a leg up from other people. So I have a lot of good people in my life who just really supported my journey. And yeah, I have 4 daughters, and I may or may not be confused for the older sister, which I'm not going to complain about.
No, I believe you're confused for the older sister. Now, for somebody else that is sitting there, that they have 2 or 3, maybe 1, maybe 5 children, and they go, I just don't have time. I don't understand this. You want me to walk where? How do they get started with their fitness journey? What do they do to get started? Because they feel like they're overwhelmed with life already. So how do they get started with their fitness journey?
Yeah, I feel like I lucked out because my business is called Fun and Sustainable Fitness. So if you think that I'm the kind of person that's going to demand you count your calories and you eat perfectly and you exercise 5 days a week in the gym, you can throw all that away because
Okay.
really, in order to be accountable, you have to be able to follow through. And like I said, on the right expectations. So if your expectation is given to you by somebody else, you're bound to fail. But if I sit down with you and say, okay, you're a young mom, busy stage of life, running business, whatever it may be, let's talk about what's doable. Because guess what, Tigo? Everybody does things they know they're not supposed to. And everybody fails to do things they know they're supposed to. So my job is to say, what are those messages that you're getting? Body telling your brain? What is your brain telling your body? And how can we break that down so that it's easy for you to just take the next step? That's all it is. Like, I didn't get to be where I am by, doing this in one day. It takes very, very fun and sustainable movements. And sustainable meaning you can do this for a long time. We don't want to burn you out. We don't want to make you go crazy. And fun means it has to be enjoyable, because if it's not enjoyable, you won't repeat it. Your brain is wired for 3 things: to avoid pain, to feel pleasure, and conserve energy. So in my grand scheme of accountability, I'm working with what's natural for you. And that's why it's fun, because my clients are like, I didn't know it could be this easy. And that's the fun part about it, because life is meant to be enjoyed. And when you do it on your terms with the basics of health, like, you're going to love it and you're going to want to do it every single day. So, and for the record, I do eat donuts. People think that, you have to get them. Like, no, I always have to get that out there, because people think that, people who have it all together live this very restricted life. And it's like, no, what are your rules of health? Follow those. Like,
I love it. She
smart.
says, I do eat donuts.
Thank you. I should celebrate International Women's Day by having a donut today.
No, I think you said you have 4 daughters.
Yeah.
Do you work out together? Do you spend that kind of time, or is your fitness time, your workout time, mommy time? Go do something. I'm going to go do this for 20 minutes.
It's a mix of both. So I do have my own coach. I do go to the gym. I hit my gym and I love that. But I also have an aerial silks rig in my front room. I sacrificed my office upstairs, and aerial silks is the circus stuff.
I know exactly what it is. It's like, of course you do.
So a good coach can make you do stuff, but a great leader is going to be somebody who teaches you how to do it on your own terms. So I have a good mix. There's times where I'm like, kids, leave me alone. I'm going to the gym. You can get your own hair done for school. And then other times I'm like, let's turn some music, let's blast it, and let's go hang. Let's go do the aerial silks. And so I thought I was going to be a soccer mom. I played soccer for years, and I put all my kids in soccer, and they're the ones doing flips and handstands, and the ball's rolling in the goal behind them. And I'm like, okay, they all got to find their own path, and I can just create opportunities to help them find what they like to do.
Now, when we started this interview, the first thing you asked me about was water. And yes, it's here, and a lot of people go, oh, I can't stand water. I just can't do it, blah, blah, blah. What's the importance of water, really? I mean, there's water in coffee. We could just do that, right?
It depends. But water really is the ability to have things move through your body. Like, water is important for your digestion. It's important for your brain function. It's important for your ability to make good nutritional choices. So I do have a lot of clients who are like, no, I hate water. And there's always ways that you can adapt. And like I said, this loving kick in the pants is going to ask you, what are you doing that you probably know you should stop? And what are you not doing that you probably know you should start? Because if somebody is drinking soda all day long, or 6 cups of coffee, I'm not going to force them to give up what they like and say, here's what you need to do cold turkey. Because again, that's not sustainable. So that's probably my favorite part about what I do, is customizing every single person's program. And that's why every single one of my programs comes with accountability. And it's not accountability to my rules. It's accountability to the basics of health and what you want to accomplish in life. So that's why I find myself working with high-level business owners, because, they're very successful in their business, but as a result, kind of their health is going on the back burner. So customizing it is super fun. And that's why a lot of my answers are like, it depends. Like, It depends.
She said it depends. You got to reach out. Now, is it more important to start fitness and working out first, or is it more important to start, you know, just getting the water down, eating properly, or should you be doing both at the same time?
So when it comes to the 4 basics, again, all of my clients have these ingrained in their heads: sleep, self-care, water intake, movement. Now, if you think about those 4 things, how many of you guys master those every day? No, not me. Like, those can be really tough habits because of the standard American diet, the workload that we have, just the way society works. Even going through COVID, like, none of those things were preached in order to make us healthier. So when it comes to, okay, what should I do? I would say go on those 4 basics and see how you're doing. Sleep, you should get 7 to 8 hours a night. Consistency is more important than quantity, excuse me. Water intake, you should have at least 64 ounces a day, or half your body weight in ounces. Self-care should be the difference between development and distraction. So if it's growing you as a person, count it. If it's distracting you from your life, that doesn't work. And then the last one is movement. And really, your body is made to move. And when you move, you put things into motion and you put yourself in new opportunities to learn what's next for me in my life. So it doesn't have to be, let's go our meal plan, let's go put our workout routine together. It's really like, when and how often do you put yourself in a state of self-reflection to say, you know, Marcy's pretty smart. What is Marcy telling Marcy to do? And I'm going to do the same thing. Tigo's pretty smart. What are the things that Tigo
I have my moments.
telling Tigo to do? And why does Tigo need to listen to Tigo? Because that's really, we're so blessed with a spirit that provides those messages to us. And the more often we can listen, we can forget about all the other crap that we should do.
You're amazing. I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. Hey, everybody, before we go and let Marcy out of the hot seat, you guys know what to do. Go to tigodirect.com. Make sure you type in Marcy. Her profile is there. Her contact information is there. You can find her book information there. And send her a little message. She'll get it. It'll come to her inbox. No, I'm not giving you her direct email. That's not happening. That's for her. And on the other side, how do they go directly to find your book, Marcy?
Yeah, if they go to marcy360.com. So just like you see on the screen, marci360.com. That not only has information about my book, but also my free quizzes on my website, my intro programs, one-on-one coaching retreats. But ultimately, I want everybody to know, if you reach out to me, I'm going to be there for you. I will check my messages. So
Awesome.
I love more than anything just to get a customized approach, because everybody's different, and that fills my bucket. So I love that.
That's amazing. Yeah, you guys just go to tigodirect.com. If you didn't get that website, type in Marcy, Marci. She'll come up. Reach out to her. No, there's not a fee. Before you fill up my inbox, ask me about a fee. There isn't one. Just, this is our way to make sure you guys can connect to everybody who's ever been on our show, especially International Women's Day. So, Marcy, I thank you so much for hanging out with us and sharing. I'll keep the water flowing, and you are fantastic.
Tigo, I appreciate you, and I love your energy. The first time I saw you on stage at Secret Knock, I was like, this girl, like, she is up and ready. And I thank you for your energy, because this is something that's going to carry me throughout the week, and I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. You are the best. You got to come back, hang out with us. And, you know I need to move more, so we'll talk about that later. Shh. Thanks, Marcy.
Cool. See you guys. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Expert Talk is sponsored by Pod Nation TV, the podcast to broadcast network.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Now, before we bring the next person up, let me remind you guys, and get my water bottle out of the picture. Let me remind you guys that we had some technical difficulties. Who knows? Maybe the happy duck on StreamYard had a headache this morning, but the link wasn't working right. So we've been sending the links out to everybody who's a guest coming up today, both the morning and the afternoon. If you're watching and you haven't gotten an email from me or an email from your agency telling you the new link, please inbox me, by sending me an email, or if you have my cell number, text me and we'll make sure you have the right link to log in, because this is fun. This is what it's all about. And I don't want anybody to miss out because the duck decided to get an attitude. Okay, back to regular work, because a good friend of mine is coming up. We used to call her our secret weapon. Now she's pretty much our secret connection, but she's one of my good friends. And honestly, a lot of the people you're seeing, like Marcy, you would have never seen if I had never met this woman and she had never introduced me to Greg Reed. So I want to thank her so much and introduce her and bring her to the show. Shannon Parsons, oh my God.
Hey.
What's happening?
It's so good to see you. And I've got my water ready to go. So ready to have some fun with you, Tico.
I saw when Marcy said drink, you actually, I could see you in the green room going, yeah, I got mine. I get it. Okay. You're amazing. Thank you. A lot of the women that have been here today is because of just you tipping that domino and connecting me with Greg Reed and the Secret Knock family and Prosperity Camp and all of that. And now it's like we filled up International Women's Day in 9 days. We actually turned away, I think, 12 women that couldn't get in this year that are already asking, can we book for next year? So, and a lot of that is because of you and all that you do to support everything that we do. So I just want to start there by saying thank you. And then, let's talk about what's going on with you now. What's happening, my friend? What is going on with you?
Well, so much. So one, we're getting ready for the next Secret Knock, which is just in like a week and a half. 2 weeks, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's speeding up quickly. So getting ready to interview amazing people from around the world and then getting to connect with amazing people from around the world. All of our friends coming back to see us again, getting ready for another soiree. So I'm trying to pick up my dress so I can look fabulous. And the other thing that I'm doing is working on TraumaCon. And I know that you and I have talked about that a little bit, but really getting ready to see what that looks like to bring it out into the world. And we just got our logo. So first steps.
Awesome. Can we share a little bit about what Secret Knock is? Because I'd rather it come from you. I wish Greg could be here, but it's International Women's Day. So I have to catch up with Mr. Greg later. Can you just share a little bit about what Secret Knock is and what Prosperity Camp is? Because I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So Secret Knock is this amazing place where business owners and people from around the world come to collaborate, network, create new business, make new best friends. And there's only one rule, and it's be cool. So we vet everybody before they're allowed to purchase a ticket. And that's because we only want high vibration people coming, people who are solution focused, who really want to make a difference in the world, who want to make a big impact while making a big income. And when we can bring all of these people together in one room, the energy is just amazing. So that's like on the side with all the people. Then we have the stage time where we bring in people who are the pioneers in their business, creating new things, actors and actresses who are making waves in the world, sometimes good, sometimes bad, you get to choose. But it's always this high vibration thing. And Greg likes to call it the unevent, because it's kind of like a conference / TED Talk / game show, because he can't sit still. So he's always running around handing out prizes to people. We want people to react and stand up and banter and be part of the entire event. So it's not where you're just sitting there and you're like, yay, another speaker. Whoa. It's like, no, get up. And if you agree, shout out. If you disagree, raise your hand and challenge the person. We want to make it fun and interactive. And Greg's been doing it for 15 years now, which is really exciting because we've got quite the reputation, as you know.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And as somebody who had the honor of being on that stage last year at the last Secret Knock, it changes your life.
Yeah, you got to interview Barry Mathers.
Yeah, I did. Leave it to Beaver. I was like, ooh, I was also very nervous, but it was so much fun. I got to tell you.
You're a trained professional, so you got it good.
Yeah, well, so they say. Anyway, Now, before everybody starts writing us, no, yes, it's in 2 weeks. It's been sold out forever. So no, you can't go. Yes, there'll be another one next year.
Go for next year, yeah.
Yeah, there'll be another one next year. And you can go to secretknock.co and or go look for Greg Reed on you know where, Tigo Direct, because he's been on our show. And his contact information is there, secretknock.co. And you have to apply to be even in the seats in the audience, you have to apply to be there. So don't write me and say, oh my God, I had to apply. I told you. Now, moving on down the road, I hope Greg is watching. Hi, Greg. What is TraumaCon and when is it? What are we doing? How are we setting it up? What's going on?
All right. So TraumaCon is my own event, and I've got a team that is really rallying behind me to help me. So my passion is actually in helping people overcome emotional trauma. So TraumaCon is this idea of being able to bring trauma education more mainstream, because a lot of people actually don't know what trauma is. They think it's something that PTSD people get from going to war. But really, as a human, we all experience trauma throughout our entire lifetime because it's the way that our body's organism keeps itself alive and continuing. But what ends up happening is we get triggered in our everyday life by things like stress, anxiety, things that happen to us in our childhood, and we don't really understand why. Or sometimes we think, oh, I know better than this. Like we know in our heads, why am I still doing the same thing, the same pattern that is self-destructive? And it's usually because there's some kind of trauma that happened to you in your past, and it's causing this trigger. Your body thinks it's doing you a favor. Your body thinks it's trying to help you. Even if something seems negative, at least it's known, because the unknown makes the amygdala go, death. So all of that to say, there are so many aspects about trauma that most people just aren't aware of. And there's not just one way to heal trauma. There's not just one way to overcome it. There are hundreds of modalities that are going to be able to help you. And if I can create an event where I can showcase these different modalities, then everybody watching or listening or participating can go, oh, that one might work for me, or that one might work for me, or these two together might work for me. And so it's really about creating an awareness that there are so many ways for people to find a way of healing or overcoming these triggers that they feel like they don't have control over.
So if they participate by either watching, attending, they don't have to necessarily share their story if they're not ready, right? Because I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing, but I think quite a few people will be, oh, I want to be a part of it, but I'm not quite ready to share. Do they have to share their story?
No. So imagine 500 people in a room, and we're going to bring in experts that are going to be sharing their different modalities, the success stories, and what it looks like. So we'll have some keynote speakers, and the audience will be about 1/3 therapists, another third like frontline people, so counselors or teachers, that kind of thing. And then the other third, just regular everyday humans curious about their own well-being. So once we leave the main stage, we'll have breakout rooms. So if you're a therapist and you want to learn more about this modality and maybe even get certified in it so you can add that into your tool belt, then you go to that room. And if you're somebody who wants to learn about it for yourself, you can go check out that room, and vice versa. So it'll be a very interactive thing where everybody's getting what they're wanting, and then we bring everybody back together. And my idea is to make it very fun and lighthearted, because we think of the word trauma like dun dun dun, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be that way. There's art therapy and music therapy, and if I can create this event where it's lighthearted and you get to feel that hope, then that's the ultimate goal. So I'm excited. We're looking at launching it in November of this year. So we're really busy right now. The team is putting everything together to get this launched out. So it's been a busy.
Well, you know, my birthday's in November, so don't do it on my birthday, and then I'll make sure I'm there. No, I'm kidding. I'll be there no matter what. You know that. You know I'm there no matter what. You know I'm there no matter what. Well, our business partner, Ann Anders, is out there, and she's watching, and she says, sounds very interesting. Hey, Ann, glad you're watching. You're out there.
Hey,
okay. I hear what you're saying. I totally want to be a part of this, and we're going to do this. And you know, anything I can do to help, I'm there. So just say the word. I got your back. But I got two other things we got to talk about before we let you out of the hot seat. One, you're a part of the Now Honors coming up. We moved it to October 14th and 15th, but you are our rising star. And for everybody out there, yeah, there you go. You know, if you want to know what a rising star looks like, boom, there is a rising star. Shannon is amazing. I want to thank you for being a part of the Now Honors this year and agreeing to be our rising star honoree. I think you're amazing. You're fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel honored to be honored. And with someone like you, who is such a pioneer in making things happen, making a difference, especially for women, charging. You're one of those people that you're like, I don't know what the word no is. I just see what I want and I go for it. And you know the importance of having an amazing team behind you. So I love that I get to be honored by somebody like you.
Oh, thank you. Then the other thing I've got to kick on is the fact that it's International Women's Day, and hopefully women and young ladies from around the globe are watching and will be watching later, because we're going to re-air this on podnation.tv. I've got to ask you, if somebody is thinking, I want to be the secret weapon, or I want to be an MC, I want to be a best-selling author, what would the Shannon Parsons say to that young lady or that woman who's ready to change her career?
Oh, that's so great. Number one, just make the decision that that's what you want to do. Decide that you want to do that, and then figure out who's already done it successfully. Don't waste your time asking people who've never done it before. Go to the source, someone who's done it, and ask them for them advice, ask them for their counsel, because they know the ins and outs. They're going to know all the shortcuts, all the ways to help you be successful now instead of having to do all the trudgery. So yeah, decide that you want it, reach out to the people that have done it, and let them pave that way for you.
Well, I want to thank you, my friend, for being on International Women's Day today. You are fantastic. But I knew you'd be here. Anytime I call, you say, hey, if I could put it in the schedule, I'll be there. That is awesome. You are the best. And I can't wait to see you in 2 weeks at Secret Knock. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today.
I love you, Tico. Happy National Women's Day to everybody. May your day be as bright as you are.
Thank you. And if you guys want to get in touch with Shannon Parsons, you know what to do. Go to tigodirect.com, type in Shannon, or you might type in secret weapon. We may have done that. I don't know. And her contact information bio will come up. Fill out the little form and she'll get it in her inbox and reach out to you. That's how you reach Shannon. You are the best. Thank you so much for hanging out. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Woo, it looks like the guests are getting their new links for StreamYard because the duck got a headache and decided that he didn't like the other links that we were using. But they're working now, and I'm so excited. So we're going to keep this show rolling because we got lots and lots more wonderful, amazing women coming up. And coming up next is this fantastic woman who's going to teach us how to tap into our hidden power. Amanda, are you out there?
I'm here.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm so glad you got the link. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was about to pop in to my little studio and my assistant goes, oh, by the way, there was a new link. I'm like, oh, thank goodness you checked my email this morning. It's been a crazy morning. So perfect.
I thank you so much. Now you're an emotional freedom mentor.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, I had spent many years really struggling with my emotions, just for various reasons, life reasons that had happened to me. And I've really come about in the last several years of creating modalities and ways of really helping people release their emotions. You know, a lot of our pent up emotions come from trauma that we've had over our lifetime. And when that happens, a lot of times we feel out of control. We feel like we're triggered at every turn. And so the idea behind being having emotional freedom is really having the awareness that you've got that stuff kind of bottled up inside and giving you ways to release that so that when those seeming triggers come into your life, you can get to a point where they don't trigger you anymore, that you have a kind of a grown up awareness of where those triggers were coming from. And when you release the emotions behind that, when you release the energy behind that, then they no longer trigger you. So it's a really powerful place to be.
Now, you're an author as well, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Now, why did you write the book Feel Better in 5 Minutes? Feel better? How? How do you feel better in 5 minutes? Other than maybe eating ice cream. That would make me feel, never mind. Okay, go ahead. I'm thinking of lunch.
That's a really good question. And you definitely can feel better in 5 minutes. And I've been doing energy work for about 16 years now and working with different clients, helping them to improve their energy system, release trauma, get to emotional freedom. And when the pandemic started in 2020, there were a lot of people on my Instagram feed that were upset. You know, some people were like, I'm day drinking now, I'm making a joke of it. Or, you know, I'm hiding in a hole, I'm scared, I'm feeling all this emotion and I don't know what to do with it. Is it mine? Is it someone else's? And so I started putting information up about being an empath and how you may be absorbing other people's emotions. And so that started getting me really thinking about where does all of that come from and all of the things that I'd learned over the years with my clients. And I started writing them down. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to write, you know, a little bit here, a little bit there. And the more I started writing, the more I realized this is a book. And I knew I had a book in me and it just started coming out. And it took me about a year to write it and get it done and really get it in a format that I felt like people could look at the stories in there and say, oh my gosh, I can relate to that. That's me. And then give them actionable steps and tools to start clearing those emotional states out so they can gain emotional freedom.
There's somebody right now, I have 5 other questions, probably 10 that I want to ask, but I know right now there's someone looking and saying, I want to write a book. I've been writing notes. I think it's a book. When did that trigger that it's a book? And how did you go from just writing notes and getting your thoughts out to actually making the commitment, I'm going to do this book?
Well, that's a great story. And I think a lot of people can relate to this. You know, when we start on an endeavor and we're excited and we feel like the endeavor's got legs and we're like, oh, I'm going to write a book or I'm going to create this course or I'm going to do this painting or whatever it is, the excitement starts and we start getting all these ideas and then doubt sets in. So what happened to me personally is in 2016, I started writing down all of my client stories and I didn't know how I was going to put that in a book format, but I just wrote down about 35 of my most interesting client stories. And then I got stuck. I got super stuck and I was trying to figure out, well, okay, these stories are great, but how do you make them actionable? How is it anyone is really going to gain anything from these? And then my life took a crazy turn. I ended up moving to a foreign country and I just shelved the book completely because life was falling apart all around me. And it wasn't something that I was really focused on. It was just, I was paddling, treading water at that point. And so after I came back to the book and started looking at all of the client stories I had, and all of the information that was kind of coming in and gelling, I'd actually bought a course on how to write a book in, I think, 3 months before that. And I'm an intuitive. And so I got this guidance to buy this program. And then I didn't open it for 3 months. Yeah, I was just sitting there and write this book. I'm like, I think I bought a program on that. So I went back and looked at the program and it didn't take that long to go through it, but it was really profoundly laid out so that I could just put all the pieces together from that program. And it was just it was a fantastic program, and I still recommend it to people. It's by Neil Gordon, and I believe it's called the Silver Bullet or Book Writing Program. And it really did make it possible for me to write the book. And then once you start writing, you've got all of these kind of self-doubts. Can I actually finish this? Who's going to want to read this anyway? That kind of thing. And you really have to push through. There's a lot of psychological effort that goes into actually completing your book. So I encourage people to do is just write. And if you write a piece that you end up not liking, don't throw it away, because it's not a waste. Everything is a process. What I did is I just put those pieces into a separate file. So I had those, so I didn't have this fear of loss of something that I had created. And that way I could always go back and look at it again. And that may be a separate book all in itself. You never know.
Wow. Okay. Now, that one of the next questions I was going to ask is, how you help other people relieve stress and anxiety, sadness, but that had to cause, creating the book, learning how to write the book, that had to cause a lot of stress, maybe some anxiety, maybe some sadness. How did you get through that?
Well, it was definitely a daily process. And, I say it took me a year to write the book. The whole process took about a year, but I would go on a writing rampage and just all this creativity would come in, and I would go. And I would be so excited about things I had written. And then I would hit this wall. And when I hit the wall, I got to the point where I realized it was part of my process and not something that was like, okay, well, it's done. I'm not going to actually finish this. And so getting over the fear of understanding that my creativity was coming in waves versus something that, a lot of people say, well, you sit down at the same time every day and write every day. And for some people that works and it's fantastic, but not everyone writes the same way. So understanding that writing and the process of writing is a very individual process. So I would write, there would be 3 or 4 days I would write like mad for several hours a day. And then I may not write again for 2 or 3 weeks because I didn't have the inspiration coming in to create the next part, the next chapter. I needed a little bit of life experience or a little bit of inspiration to actually happen in my life, to be experiential, to spur the next part. And if I had written it beforehand, what I found is if I forced myself to write, when I said, oh, I'm going to sit down every day and write, because you read that, the writing was not as good. It wasn't as inspired, and I ended up throwing it away. So it was something that for me, the process was very cyclical. And just understanding myself in the process, you do learn about yourself when you're writing a book, because you do go through a lot of frustrations, a lot of blocks, a lot of, can I actually do this? And then the fear of putting your work out there. There is a fear in that because you're worried about being judged and ridiculed and all of that. But what I tell people is, if you are brought the inspiration to put your information out there, if this is something that is burning inside of you, it's not for no reason. It's because it needs to get out in the world, and it's going to help someone.
Now, I'm looking, when I started this interview with you, I teased and said, you're going to help us, get to our hidden power, and get past our stress and your inner power. Can we talk about that just a little bit? What is a hidden power? And what if we don't even know we have it?
Well, everyone has this power within them. They're a lot stronger than they think they are, especially people that have been through a ton of trauma, a lot of things. The reason you're going through that is because there are amazing things waiting for you on the other side of that. And so I tell people, you're always stronger than you think you are. And this hidden power is really the power to keep going. Your true core essence inside yourself is what's spurring you on. It's what's creating the life around you. And as you release your trauma, as you start to transform those parts of yourself that are trapped or limited, those kinds of things, you really start to expand into these new spaces. Your perception opens up of the world, and you can really start to step into your own power and start to empower others. What I tell people is, look at what you're giving to the world as well, where you need to be sure that you're taking care of yourself, but who around you are you serving? Are you helping? And that is part of your superpower. You're really your energy is going out and empowering other people to be their best. And then that's coming back to you. And when the gratitude comes back, take it in. Don't push it away. Don't say, oh, that was nothing. No. Take it in and use that to actually refuel yourself so that you can go out again and do it again, because it's a feel-good process and you're actually healing through the process of helping other people.
I've got to shift gears because if I don't hit this, I saw it in your bio and I said, oh my goodness, I got to ask. The benefit of eating different colored foods.
Yes.
Talk to me. Talk to me.
Yes. So color is an amazing thing because it has a lot of power. I see you're wearing red today. You're very confident, you're poised, you're together, you're grounded, you're empowering that root chakra. Oh yeah, you've got it going on. So
thank you.
Red is a color that if you're lacking confidence, if you're struggling with just feeling like you are grounded in the planet on the earth, red's a great color to be wearing. It's a great color to just make yourself feel powerful and strong inside yourself. So eating red foods, raspberries, red apples, beets, things like that are really good foods to eat when you're struggling with that, or if you're feeling like you're just a little depleted in your confidence sector. Orange is a great color to eat. That's the color of your sacral chakra. And that's where creativity resides, personal power. So eating orange foods like oranges and like passion fruit, things like that are good fruits to eat for that. And it also, it just works synergistically with your body. And if you can't find those foods, a lot of times I encourage people to get a glass that is that color and set it in the window with some water in it for just a little while, and then drink that, which sounds weird, but it really imbues the water with the energy of that color. And you can actually bring it in that way. If you don't want to eat sugar, if fruit's not something that's in your diet, it's just an interesting way of getting that color into your energy system, because your human energy system is full of color, and your aura is full of color. If you've ever seen pictures on the internet of when people take pictures of their aura or whatever, the Carillion photography, there's a lot of color in there, right? And so when we have trauma and we have all these things going on that really limit our energy system, what happens is those colors get dulled and they get depleted. So by taking in more color and even wearing color will actually really help you with that too. Really helps to replenish that energy system. Color really is kind of an energy vitamin for our bodies.
That's amazing. Okay, I could sit here and talk to you all day. I hope you'll come back and do a full interview outside of International Women's Day, because the information you provide is fantastic. I just want to sit here and chat. But Ms. Woods, it's sitting in there, waiting for the next interview. So I can't hold on.
Of course.
But I got to ask you before I let you go, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
International Women's Day is really a opportunity for women to have a voice all over the world, really feel empowered, really understand that by lifting each other up, we can move mountains. And the woman has the ability to create life, and really taking that in and taking that to heart, because we're not only creating life and have the ability to create life, but also inspire life as well. So I encourage every woman to be strong, inspire life, and just go out and conquer the world.
I can't think of a better way to end this interview. Amanda, you are amazing. I can't wait to talk to you again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your International Women's Day. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Emmett, you want to play with me? Yeah, I can't play right now. I'm doing show notes.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? I don't know if I can hear you. Everything kind of froze. All right, we can still go. Yay. Okay, coming up next, if you guys are listening to me, coming up next, we have a young lady that I haven't had the honor of meeting, but her bio made her one of my best friends. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm going to call her Miss Wood because I don't want to mess up her first name. And when she comes up, she can tell me what her first name is. Miss Wood, are you out there?
Oh, yes. Hi, how are you?
I am amazing. Okay, please, please tell me your first name so I don't mess this up because I don't want your mother to hurt me. I saw her picture.
It's Portia. So hi, nice to meet
Portia.
you. See
Okay.
you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. You have an amazing, amazing resume. And the movement that you guys are creating, you and your mom, is just mind blowing. But you're really doing a lot with minorities and people of color and generational wealth. You know, that's something I was told that people of color couldn't even have. My mother said, no, you be happy you can pay your rent. Shut up. So can you explain to me, one, as a successful lawyer, what made you decide to even look at this field? Because you could go and do anything in your life you think of. What made you decide to focus on this?
Ooh, that's kind of a long story, right? I was in public relations in college, and I was rear-ended by a drunk driver my junior year, and I ended up in physical therapy for many months, and I worked in my cousin's civil rights law firm, and they were working on a police brutality case, and I got the opportunity to really dig into that and learn about how the law was being used. And I decided I wanted to give a voice to the voiceless. And so I shifted career gears and really focused on how can I be the best advocate for my community? How can we use these legal tools to be able to create an equitable world and make sure that we're being treated fairly? Many of the protests erupted over the course of my time in the beginning of my career. And I was on the front lines. You know, my picture ended up on the front page of the New York Times. I was actively involved in what was going on. And I realized there's a lot of people in that space, but nobody was talking about the economic justice side from a generational wealth perspective. And so I started studying it. And from that point on, it's been a passion to really shed light on that area as well.
So what does that mean? There's someone watching right now going, you know, I know wealthy people. I see them on the news and I see them on TV. You know, what does generational wealth mean? What does that mean to me?
Generational wealth is opportunity. It's access. Okay. People have this idea that it's you know, you've got to have millions and millions of dollars. But in minority communities, in any community, if you've got a house that somebody owns and you can leave that house to your family to be leveraged, that one property, regardless of where it's located, could fund college education. So now you have kids who are graduating without debt. It could fund businesses that get started. So now you don't have to go through traditional banking models and worry about predatory lending. It could fund the purchase of other real estate. And so what we don't do, particularly in minority communities, is plan for the inevitability, which is that we will die at some point. 100% of the time, all of us are going to pass away. And what do we do with everything we've worked for? Right. 70% of African Americans don't have any plan at all for what happens with what they've worked for, regardless of how much it is. And so if you don't have a plan, that one house may go through a probate process, which means the courts are taking their piece, the attorneys are taking their piece, your creditors are getting their piece, and your family is getting whatever is left over, if anything. And that's an avoidable process.
So what does the year 2053 mean to you?
Well, there was a study that was done that said by 2053, the median net worth for African-American families was set to hit zero. And if it would take another 20 years for Latino families to hit that same result, so 2073. And that was if we did nothing. Now, that study was published in 2017. This was long before COVID-19 came into existence and impacted the entire world. In the United States, in 2020 alone, 1 in 555 African Americans died as a result of this pandemic. In fact, more than 146,000 children were orphaned as a result of this pandemic just between April of 2020 and June of 2021. 65% of those kids are in minority communities. This is a huge impact on family stability, on wealth transfer, on access and opportunities, who's raising these kids. It's also created a serious backlog in the court system. So now it's taking even longer to get assets passed that might be left over. And so what we know, there was another study that came out same year that said only 13% of college educated African Americans pass $10,000 or more to the next generation. Get $10,000, only 13%. Meaning 87% of African Americans with at least one college educated person in their family are not even passing $10,000. We're passing negative wealth. And that is the issue. We cannot close the racial wealth gap if we don't keep what we work for.
Wow. So when you talk about estate planning, and they are living paycheck to paycheck or barely living paycheck to paycheck, they're going estate planning. Are you kidding me? I have one house and a 5-year-old car that I'm still paying for. I can't think about estate planning. Are you talking to someone who's very, very successful, or are you talking to all of us?
Everyone.
Okay.
Estate planning is not the same, right? So everybody over the age of 18 needs an estate plan. We just don't need the same plan as the next person because our family structures are different, our asset levels are different, our goals are different, right? So our plans are going to be specifically tailored to us. There, in the African American community specifically, there are a lot of people who were impacted by the war on drugs, right? Which nowadays people look back and they say, oh, that was really a war on poor and minority communities. Well, that means 1 in 3 people have 1 in 3 African American males have some contact with the justice system, whether they're incarcerated, on probation, parole, etc. We can talk about that as a criminal justice issue, but it's also a wealth issue because they may now have back child support from having been incarcerated. They may have restitution issues to the state as a result of whatever their conviction might be. And we don't think about it, but if you leave one house to your 3 kids, unrestricted, unprotected, the state can come in and attach to that child's debts. So if that daughter has restitution or child support or any of these other issues coming in, now they can force a sale of the home. And it's not even that it's necessary, right? That people are thinking about it. They're not thinking about these ancillary issues that are impediments to wealth. They're just thinking, oh, it's going to just get there. And it doesn't. And one of the other biggest issues that we need to think about right now is student loan debt, because so many people have taken out loans to be able to get a higher education to advance in life. But that debt is also going to need to be satisfied. And for many people, they're on income-based repayment, they're on these other programs. But if you inherit a house or you inherit, assets from a family member, your net worth has increased. And you've got to qualify for those programs every single year. So if they charge you more just because you have a higher net worth from an inheritance, all that's going to do is eat up the inheritance, which essentially we've got nothing. So we have to think about what is happening around us so that we can preserve what we have.
This is International Women's Day, and this is our 2nd annual International Women's Day. I want to thank you, Portia, so much for being on it. But I've got to ask you, young women, single moms, young families, I'm going to be 59 this year, 58-year-old, 59-year-old. They're making changes now. They're talking about this is the gig society, blah, 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 blah. And they're going, it's either too early for me to think about estate, generational wealth or estate planning, or it's too late for me to think about that. Is there a target range that they need to be in? Is it ever too early or too late?
Nope. So from the time of 18, right? Once you become a legal adult, that's when you should do estate planning. And your estate plans are going to evolve throughout your life as your life changes. You may get married, you may have kids, you may have grandkids, you may have people who are special needs inside of your family. You may become a caregiver. All of those things are going to impact your planning. If you have breath in your lungs and capacity in your mind, you still have time to do estate planning. The thing about estate planning is that once you need it, it is too late to get it. You have to do it in advance. You have to do it proactively. People think about, they go, well, what's a conservatorship? Britney Spears is probably the most famous conservatorship that we've heard of in recent times. And there was a
Yeah.
Netflix special about it. Everybody knows about it. Well, someone was in control of her money, her property, whether she could work, whether she could get married, whether she could have kids. That's the power of a conservator. And for anybody in society, if you get sick and cannot handle your own affairs, if you haven't picked who makes decisions for you, then the court is responsible for that through a conservatorship. And they get to pick whoever they deem is fit to take care of you. And so estate planning is not just what happens after I die, but how do I live with dignity? And this pandemic showed us that a lot of people at the drop of a dime can end up in the hospital, and someone's got to be legally able to step up. And if you haven't decided who that is, you're stuck with whoever the court picks for you.
Before I shift gears, because we're running out of time and I don't want to run out of time, you're amazing. I want to invite you to come be on the show and we can go deep. But before I shift gears, on your bio, it says there's 3 legal documents everyone should have. What are those 3 legal documents?
Yes. So if you are over the age of 18, the first is going to be your property power of attorney. It is different for different states, right? Might be uniform statutory, but effectively what it is authorizing someone, if you can't make decisions for yourself, authorizing them to access your bank account, to pay your bills, to make decisions for you. The second is going to be your healthcare directives. Again, if you can't make decisions for yourself medically, who is legally authorized to do that for you? What kinds of decisions do you want them to make? Your advanced healthcare directives, and giving them access to your medical records, your HIPAA authorization forms. Those 2 things have zero to do with how much money you have and everything to do with your dignity and taking care of you if you were to pass away. Those are the same for everybody. The third set is going to be your distribution plan. And this is where you see variety. This is what most people think is estate planning. But really, it could be a will, right? As long as that's what's appropriate for your asset levels, your family structure, and your goals. Or it's more than likely going to be some form of a trust. Because what people don't know is that a will still has to be probated. It means it still has to go to court and be judge certified. So all of those fees that come in with going through a court process still come in if you have a will. A trust is really going to be the only thing that avoids a properly funded and created trust is the only thing that's going to avoid that court interference and save all of those fees for a family. So that's your distribution plan. And it will depend on your family structure, on your asset levels, and on your goals. That's what your estate plan is. So those 3.
Wow. Now, before I let you out of the hot seat, I got to ask. It's International Women's Day. You work with your mom. I don't know if this is full time or if you guys, just kind of hang out on Tuesday, but you work with your mom. How do you do that? How is that working out? I mean, some people don't want to go to dinner on Sunday and you're working with your mom on a regular basis. Tell mom, don't smack me when she sees me. I'm just asking.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. You know what? It's actually amazing because we have such differing perspectives, right? The way that we have interacted with the world as Black women in this society helps us to understand our clients on so many different levels, right? I'm young. I have a 4-year-old son. I'm well versed in cryptocurrencies and what's happening. I'm on the pulse of what's happening right now, and she really understands the baby boomer population. Her community. What are their fears? What are their goals? What are they trying to achieve? And so when we work together, we actually really do a great job of not just caring for her generation, but also planning for my generation and the generations that come after us. So it works really well.
And for young ladies that are watching this, they're going, I want, ESQ behind my name. Would you recommend going on that journey? And how would you start that journey? Should you be thinking about it when you're 10? When should you be thinking about, I want to be an attorney. I want to change the world. What's going on?
I would say there's a lot of ways to change the world. Law school is incredible, but definitely intern first. I would say find someone who's done it and get a mentor, because as we've seen, the student loan debt crisis is a big one, and lawyers are not immune from that at all. So making sure that you have a clear path and trajectory for what you are trying to do is going to be important. And a mentor. I heard the other guests say it earlier. It's so true. No matter what you do in life, you need someone who's going to help guide you through it. Someone has been there before. Do not reinvent the wheel. Take their successes and failures, internalize them, and then build upon them. And that's really what estate planning is, building on the shoulders of those who came before us.
So I just have two more questions. One, you work a lot with Black and Brown community. We know that. We already talked about it, but you also help the LGBTQ plus community, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is
Yeah.
this the same approach of everything? Generational wealth, estate planning. Is that what you're doing in the LGBTQ plus community as well?
Yes. So it's all about protection, right? At the end of the day, it's about protection. We all get up every single day and we go to work for something, whether it's for personal comfort, whether it's for our family, whether it's for a legacy, whatever it's for, we have a why. That is our personal why. We also have our family why. And making sure that that's protected is important. For a lot of communities, particularly historically and systematically marginalized communities, the default laws do not protect us. And so we have to make sure we understand how to work within the legal structure to protect ourselves. And the LGBTQ community is no different, right? Especially people who are partnered but not necessarily legally married, or not domestic partners. They may have a house together. They may have it titled in a way that if something happens to one of them, it goes to that other person's family who maybe doesn't even talk to them or accept them.
Oh, wow.
And the partner could be out on the street. And so making sure that the people you love and trust are the ones who are making decisions for you and benefiting from your labor is what estate planning is, right? Because the default could be people you don't know, don't like, don't talk to, or who don't respect you and your choices.
So before I let you go, what does International Women's Day mean to you and Mom? Mom should be there. I should have invited her. And Mom.
Yep. Well, I mean, when we think about International Women's Day, it's about equity. People talk about equality, but the reality is none of us are equal. What we want is equity. We want an opportunity and a fair shot to have our voices heard, to be acknowledged, to live lives that have purpose and meaning and fulfillment and the ability to do so. And so, International Women's Day is just another opportunity for us to continue to beat the drums and sound the horns and say, hey, we're not there yet, but at least let's remind you of the promise.
Well, I thank you so much, Portia Woods, for coming hanging out with us, sharing a little bit of your knowledge. I hope you'll come back and be a guest soon. You're amazing. And the information you have, I know my mother's in heaven going, now that's somebody that knows what she's talking about.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and to be on this platform. And thank you for all that you do in providing a voice, particularly today for International Women's Day, but all days.
Thank you so much. If you guys want to reach Portia Wood, you know what to do. Go to tigodirect.com, type in Portia, type in Wood. She's going to come up. You're going to see that pretty face just right into the little form, and she'll get it in her inbox. Reach out to her, because apparently we should all be thinking about generational wealth and estate planning. I thank you so much for being on, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Peggy McCall, best-selling author and manifestation mentor. And I am the proud winner or recipient of the Network of Outstanding Women Woman of the Year Award for 2021. And the reason why I created this video is because I just wanted to share with you what an extraordinary experience it was being nominated and, of course, winning and being a part of something that's truly extraordinary. Throughout my career, I've been very blessed to network with some amazing individuals. And of course, being a part of this organization has really invited such a wonderful opportunity to share, to learn, to grow, to contribute. And that's what I believe that this opportunity does for every single person that's involved.
Hey mate, do you want to play with me? Yeah, I can't play right now. I'm doing show notes.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Well, it seems that Dr. M can't make it. She was supposed to be our next guest and she's having some technical difficulties. I guess that's just today. It could be the link because the duck got a headache. We're going to talk about that later. Or it could be something going on with her computer system. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to talk to you. You're stuck with this face right here and catch you up on a couple of things. One, you just saw show notes go by. I love that little commercial we did for our magazine. It is our digital interactive magazine, and it's also in print called ET Show Notes. We interview people on our show, and then we create a magazine from some of our key guests. The next episode or the next issue of show notes coming up is all about today. It's all about the women that are on International Women's Day. And we're going to drop that issue the first week of April. I hope you guys will grab a copy, reach out, and connect with these wonderful women because we want to keep these stories going and going and going. Let me share with you why we're doing International Women's Day. One funny story. I was on International Podcast Day with Scott Carson last year in 2021. And I watched him interview people all day long. And I said, I wonder if I can do that. So I saw International Women's Day was coming up. And I thought, I want to do something to support that movement, that platform. How can I do this? And I thought of Scott Carson and his marathon. And I said, I'm going to do this marathon. I'm going to interview women from all over the world. And I reached out to friends and friends of friends and strangers and said, hey, would you come on International Women's Day and just share your journey? Talk to us about what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. And a lot of women said yes. I think we had 26 women last year. And we did 15-minute interviews, just like we're doing today, and got amazing stories from those interviews. But when I was done, after 26 interviews, needless to say, I was a bit tired because y'all know I'm not a spring chicken. Tingo's 58 years old, and doing 20 some odd interviews in a single day is kind of like running a marathon. You need your vitamins. I'm just going to say that. So I said, I'm never doing it again. I will never do this marathon again. And then in October of last year, people started reaching out and saying, hey, are you going to do International Women's Day again? Oh, you should do International Women's Day again. Well, you couldn't do it just once. And I thought, yeah, I don't want to let this go. It is so much fun. It's so much information. I hope you guys are enjoying it and having fun watching and learning and connecting with all of these amazing women because they're doing it. You know, they're doing it from their home. They're enterprise executives. They're making movements in the hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate. These women are doing it. So why not share those stories? So yeah, we're already starting to plan next year. And hopefully next year with the COVID change and it hopefully keeps going in a positive direction, we'll actually be able to do a lot of these interviews in person and not just virtually. Virtually is cool. You don't have to leave. I'm in my home office, in my little home studio. You don't have to leave, but sometimes it's neat to be able to sit on set and actually be able to sit and look directly at somebody and talk to them. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you'll pick up, show notes and check out this amazing magazine. What makes it interactive is each individual interview that you're seeing right here today will be cut into individual segments. For International Women's Day, it'll be re-aired and redistributed on all 40 plus audio and video platforms that we are connected with. And it'll also be available on our network, podnation.tv. But on top of that, they will be connected directly in the magazine. So you'll be able to virtually turn the page and click the button and watch the interview if you missed someone. Or if you got the printed copy, each one of the pages, each one of the interviews will have their own QR codes. Some of them will have an AR code, which is an augmented reality code. Don't get me going on tech stuff, because I'll talk about it all day. But augmented reality, if you don't know what it is, look it up. It's about to be a lot of fun. You'll be able to scan the augmented reality code, and the video will pop up into your phone or your tablet or your iPad, and you'll be able to watch that video there directly from the printed magazine. So that's what makes it interactive. We've been doing interactive magazines since 2003. We did Black Insight Magazine, the world's first all-digital interactive magazine for African Americans. We reached millions of people. We had a blast doing it. And it was before YouTube and Facebook really took off. It was very different for a lot of people. And we had video embedded in it and all of that. And people reached out to me and said, if I play this video on my computer, will it blow it up? Because back then we were in dial-up. Now, y'all know what dial-up is. Don't sit there and look at me like, what are you talking about? Dial-up, and it took, all night long to download a picture. Yeah, that time. And we were running video inside of a digital magazine. So we've been doing this for almost 10 years. It's been a lot of fun. We've had a blast doing it. I just wanted to take a minute or two since Dr. M couldn't be here. Don't worry, we'll get her. We'll get her on camera. We'll get her interview. We will distribute it later and make sure you guys know when she's out there, because Dr. M is, absolutely amazing. She is a true doctor. And, she deals with releasing negative emotions and limited beliefs, but she also really has a full webinar on dealing with the glass ceiling and breaking through it. So I definitely want to get her interview. We will get it at a later date and re-air it and make sure you guys have it. But for right now, I am going to go to break and find out what's going on with our next guest. You may be sitting here listening to me talk again, but hey, that's what live is about. If they don't show up, I better have something to say, or it's just going to be crickets and y'all won't be watching. So for right now, I'm going to take a break and I'll be right back.
Expert Talk is sponsored by Pod Nation TV, the podcast to broadcast network.
Well, here we go. We are waiting for our next guest to come in. Don't worry, if I don't get her interview live today, Shell Harrington, I will get her interview and we'll definitely distribute it. But I am trying to find out, I'm checking my emails, so to find out if she has written and said she's having problems. There's Dr. M. She did have technical issues. And she said she will definitely reset the interview for a later time. That's awesome. Let me reach out and see if I can find out what's going on with Shell Harrington. And I'm sending an email. Hey, Alan, can you come up and don't leave me up here by myself?
Okay. I'm just kind of floating here because I don't have a green screen up.
Yeah,
We
you
do.
look almost like a ghost, but that's okay. I'm sending Shell's agent a message to make sure. They replied and said that their clients, they had resent the email to everyone on their side. And Patricia Wood was one of them. So she got it.
Right. Portia.
Hopefully, sorry, Portia. Hopefully the rest will get it as well. So all we can do now is just kind of fill in until, because we're not going to shut it down. That's for sure. We got other guests coming behind them. So we're
Right.
just going to have to fill the time and hang out together. So how are you enjoying being the producer of this marathon, man? We are, I don't know how many guests in. I think we've done maybe 8, 9, something like that.
Yeah. Well, today hasn't gone so well as a producer. We had some link issues, and hopefully the afternoon, I sent all the afternoon links out to them. So hopefully that will go better than it had this morning. So I do apologize. I'm not sure what went out, but hopefully they have their new links and it'll go good. The guests have been amazing.
The duck was just in a mood, I think, and didn't like the last link. But you can't do that to us, duck. You know, this StreamYard duck pops up all the time. You can't do that to us because we're live. You know, if we're pre-recording, that's one thing. But we are literally live on, I don't know how many platforms right now. And for everybody that's watching, no, that's not a woman with a bald head. That's Alan. Alan is
International
my
Women's Day.
producer. Alan is my producer, my director, one of the business partners. And as I tell everybody, my big head little brother with a grumpy cup because he's showing off that he had coffee and I could not this morning. That is not nice. That is not nice. So let's talk about the Now Honors, man. The next thing we have, major big thing we have coming up is one, we're going to do a guest appreciation day. We haven't picked the date for that yet. But
Right.
2, in October 14th and 15th, we're doing the Now Honors. I mean, this will be the first time that we're doing this live and on stage. You know, I'm ecstatic about that. You know, Darkest Gates is coming up. She's our neon star. She's coming up. She's our neon star. And she'll be on, I think she's on at like 11:30. So we have her coming. She may have to come in at 11:15. We don't know because these 3 guests all have the same agent. So hopefully they have the next one, Rachel. Hopefully she has the link. Dr. M got the link. She was having issues. She sent me an email. I had a second to read it. She was having issues on her side. She thought it was an audio interview. So all she had with her was her phone. And so she wants to reschedule it. So we'll get her maybe later on today. After this is over, we can record her and then air it later on in the week or something like that. But I don't know what happened with Shell Harrington. And I definitely wanted to talk to her because she's got that group called the Fat Bottom 50s. I so wanted to talk to her, but we'll get her. I'm not worried about it. We'll get her. Let's see.
I haven't seen Rachel Tenenbaum come around either, so I'm not sure.
Hold on one second. I think Shell is in the wrong room. I am going to mute myself for just a second because
I'm going to run a commercial, and you guys, hopefully we can get Shell on in a minute.
Hey mate, do you want to play with me? Yeah, I can't play right now. I'm doing show notes.
Hi. Hey, I can't hear you yet. Can you hear me? Oh no. Okay, well, I'm excited to be here. Is there stop? I think something that says edit audio avatar. Do you think that's it?
Can you hear me now? Can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There
Just
it
like
is.
the
There
phone
it is.
commercial. I can hear you now. Excellent.
Hey, Shell, how are you?
I am great. I am great. Thanks so much for having me here. This is such a cool program.
Oh, thanks so much for being here. And I mean, you've got the coolest Facebook page on the planet. So I wanted to reach out to you because I'm 58 years old. You're talking to me, man. You're talking to me. Fat bottom 50s get fierce.
Those are my people.
All right, talk to me. Where did it come from? What's it about? Hit me.
Well, it started out several years back. My best friend and I found ourselves over 50, overweight, overstressed, and we lived in different parts of the country. I'm in Oklahoma, she's in Michigan, and we're like, what can we do to stay connected? So we thought we would address, we can't, overweight, over 50, overstressed. We could take on two of the three of that. Apparently we were never going to not be over 50 again. So we started a blog and a website with that name on it, Fat Bottom 50s Get Fierce. And we just wrote whatever our little hearts wanted to, addressing and hanging out with our people. And life kind of got in the way of us connecting there. So I took it to Facebook because we got so much interaction from other people who could relate to being overweight, over 50, overstressed. And then it just kind of evolved into, embracing our best selves and focusing more on the fierce than any of the other components, because that's where we all want to be, just living the best we can with all these weird things going on with our minds and bodies and how other people are responding to us over 50. It's a new world. And so hanging out at my Facebook page, a lot of people came to join me because they can relate. We want to do this with humor, right? We can't change some of the stuff that's going on. Yeah,
I qualify all the way around. So anytime you need me, I'll run right over because I qualify all the way around.
Well, I'm excited about that, Tigo, because you're one of my heroes here. I mean, losing 75 pounds after 50 by boxing, no less. I thought that was awesome. That's like what we want to do, is be embracing where we are and using what we have to make ourselves fiercer. So yeah, thanks. You are my people.
Thank you. Now, you also wrote a book, Over 50 Defined. What's that book about?
Yeah, words just for us that aren't in the dictionary yet. I don't know if some of you may remember Sniglets from the 80s, where it was just made up words to kind of encompass things that needed words, but there just weren't any. And I've been a word nerd all my life, so I thought that would be fun to kind of play with that. And then when I hit that close to 50 mark and saw this strange stuff going on, it's like, oh, we need a name for that. Like walking into a room and remembering why we're there. That's too long to say. So I named that Remember. And it started out with a blog post just to have fun. And I named these words Quinbloids, just made up that word for 5 and bloid, just because it's fun to say, makes your whole face move with it. And so I had 5 to start with, and I got such fun feedback, and the weird kept coming over the next few years. So I had enough of these things, named to fill a book. And that's what got that started. It's our new dictionary, our secret code for those of us over 50. That's not so secret.
That's amazing. Now, you kind of, my dad used to tell me all the time, I know everybody marches to a different drummer, but what dang band plays in your head? Because I've always been on my own rhythm. And you are on your own rhythm as well. I mean, you've got this cool Facebook group. You're an author. But on top of that, you're a family attorney and a humorist.
Yeah.
How do these things go together? I mean, I guess that's where brunch came from. You mix things.
I do. Well, the humor is the common thread, that just has to stay everywhere, because family law is it's such a serious topic. People's lives are being switched around. I represent a lot of children as well as divorcing parents and do a lot of custody work. And I teach family law at OCU Law School. So it's a really concerning place for me. I really want to kind of pour into that and get ahead of people having those type of issues, which is why in that world, I go by the divorce lawyer who doesn't like divorce. And, I know there's a place for it, and it's always going to be there, but I like to try and get ahead and speak on how to stay out of my office, put me out of business. So my writings and my speaking on that contain the same warped humor that I take everywhere I go, and try and serve my people in both venues. And then the over 50 stuff, it's just where I'm living, and these are my people, and I want to get that message out that, ladies, you are not alone. We are all having the weird going on at the same time. So let's name it, let's embrace it, and appreciate. This is such an awesome day to be talking about this, Tigo. I love this opportunity to celebrate women and where we are and being our best selves with whatever we have.
Okay, see, I'm about 18 months, right around there, away from 60. So you and I need to come up with a project for over 60.
Well, and I had to move it on now if you look at my web page, my website, I actually added a plus after the over 50 get fierce. But over 50 plus get fierce. Yeah, because it really is. The readership is starts about 45. And matter of fact, I'm here today celebrating in Florida, visiting in Florida, my mom's 96th birthday.
Go ahead, Mom.
Course, she loves the humor too, and talk about a fierce woman. So it was just clear to me. It's not, you're right. It's over 60. We got some new stuff in the mix, which we're going to name. And it's just really relatable.
Yeah, now you got to do Foxy and 90 plus.
I have fodder for that. Thanks to my Fat Bottom 50s Get Fierce friends and the contributions. Yeah, we're gonna keep going through we've got the half century covered. We're gonna move on and cover that whole century.
Well, I know we had some technical issues going on to get you on this morning, but I hope you'll come back and do a full interview, because we need to go deep, deep, deep and just have a good time and hang out and share more of your story. But before I let you out of the hot seat, I got to ask you, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
It means a time to celebrate, lift up, and support and encourage other women, whatever they have accomplished, wherever they are in their life, whatever they're dealing with and going through, to know that they're not alone. This is a vast support community of women who care, and I am proud to be part of it. And I thank you for the opportunity to have this venue to celebrate it in today.
I thank you for joining us and being a part of this. And you guys, if you want to get connected with Shell, or you want to know more about her Facebook group or get her book or anything, you know what to do. Go to tigodirect.com. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost her anything. We just created the directory to connect you guys to these amazing people that we are blessed enough to have on our show. So go to tigodirect.com, type in Shell, type in, Fat Bottom. It's coming up. You'll see her profile. You'll see that beautiful face. Send her a message. It'll end up in her inbox, I promise. Shell, you are the best. Please come back and do an interview at a later date. I just think you're amazing.
Thank you so much. I would love that. Yeah, I want to just kick around a little bit more, Tigo. We got some stuff to talk about. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, heck yeah, we do. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of International Women's Day.
Will do. Thank you.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Hey mate, do you want to play with me? Yeah, I can't play right now. I'm doing show notes.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. We seem to be getting back on track. I wanted to let you know, yes, we're streaming on Facebook. We're streaming on about 11 platforms. I have no idea how many people are watching on all platforms. I'll have to go and get those stats a little bit later. But you guys know we're going to re-air these on my show, Expert Talk, as individual interviews. So that'll happen, 40 plus platforms there. And we're going to add them into podnation.tv. So that means Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. So at the end of the day, I believe last year's International Women's Day had somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to 5 million views on all the platforms over the last year. I'm hoping we break that this year. So getting back to the show, I'm so excited. Rachel Tannenbaum is here. She's waiting in the wings. Hey, Rachel, are you out there?
Howdy.
How are you? How are you? How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so delighted to be here with you, Tico, today.
I'm so delighted to have you and all of the amazing women to just have you guys take out a little bit of your time and hang out with us. Come on, this is fantastic.
What's better than that?
So
a day with great women.
You are a neurotransformational coach. Did I say that right?
Yes, it's a mouthful.
And what does that mean?
Like, what does that even mean? Absolutely. It's a brain-based coach. So I'm trained not only as a certified coach, but also with a training and a background in leadership and development, but also in understanding how the brain works so that I can help you, my clients, understand how their brain works so that we can maximize our brains to work most efficiently and effectively. It's like having a manual, right? You get a manual when you get a new car, you get a manual to your brain so that you can, have it work better.
Awesome.
Optimize.
So what does retain your brain mean to you?
Retrain or retain?
Retrain, yeah. You retrain your brain. What does that mean to you?
To me, it means that we have a lot of habitual tendencies, right? Whether we've developed them since childhood or later in life, we have reactive tendencies. And when we can retrain and rewire our habitual reactions, we get better results. And not better results because they're just better, but because they're more aligned with what we want to experience in life.
Mm-hmm. I love acronyms. I'm actually in a book of acronyms. I'm a co-author in a book of acronyms. I noticed in your bio, you like acronyms as well. I found a couple of them, one of which is PEACE.
Yeah.
What does the PEACE acronym mean?
So I often talk with clients who are executives or leaders, CEOs, about prioritizing peace, right? And it sounds a little, it's different than what it actually is, right? And for me, prioritizing peace is we cannot control someone else, ever. Right? We cannot always control circumstances. We can do our best, but oftentimes we'll spend more time fighting with others or fighting with circumstances than maintaining our inner peace and looking for another alternative route in a way that is far more effective and beneficial for ourselves, the situation, our organizations as a whole. So it's about prioritizing our peace so that we can see and think more clearly to get the results that we hope to engender.
That's an amazing way to put that. And what made you decide to turn that into an acronym? And it rings in your brain for sure.
Absolutely.
I understand that. But when you sat there, you said, this is an acronym. What made you decide to do that?
I think it was through a little bit of play, right? It's like, how can I give you effective steps and tools over the course of time that you can use, that you can remember with ease so that you can remember to prioritize your peace. So peace isn't just about the prioritization of peace, but it's about the how. And it was very simple and easy when we looked at the letters of peace to apply tools that I've been teaching for years.
So what is the next acronym that I found? AWARE. What does that acronym mean? And tell me the story behind it. How did you get started? What made you say, this is a good one, I'm going to drop this one in my bio?
To me, and from all the research that I've done with clients, more importantly, is that awareness is huge, right? The more aware that we are of ourselves, the more aware that we can be of our relationship, what's going on for someone else, and then how we want to respond to again engender the results that we desire. So all of this is about, one of the greatest gifts that we can give the world, and in order to show up as a powerful leader and a powerful CEO, is to be aware of what's going on for us so that we can actually be aware of what's going on for our direct reports, for the people in our organization on a bigger scope, what's going on outside, right? And knowing and being able to see and pull all those pieces together to move in the direction that you desire.
How do you deal with negative self-talk and how do you help your clients work their way through negative self-talk?
First, you got to become aware of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's part of the aware bit, right? Just the awareness is huge. And once you become aware, I love to anthropomorphize them, to see them as characters and to name them. Right? We can have different characters in our heads. They can be called saboteurs or mind monkeys or gremlins. But the more that you can see them as separate and disassociate from them, the more you can be in conversation with them. And so instead of feeling like you are, Michael Singer says, you're not the voice of the mind, you're just the one that hears it. And the more that you can become aware that you're just hearing stuff and you can distance yourself from what it is that you're hearing. And these voices are influences from our parents, from society, from people that we've surrounded ourselves with, old bosses, right? And the more that we can start to really distinguish where that voice is coming from and that they're not actually who we are, the more that we can be response able rather than just blindly reacting to those voices. I kind of see it as when we just blindly react to and do everything they say, it's like letting a 5-year-old sit behind the wheel of a car of our life and drive the car. It's like they say they know what they're doing, but if you let them drive the car, you're going to end up in a pileup on the nearest interstate. It's just not an effective way to drive the car of your life. So it's like, you know what? You actually belong in the backseat. I hear you. I acknowledge you, but you don't get to drive the car. You don't get to get behind the wheel.
How important is meditation?
You're touching on something that for me, it's essential. And for many of my clients too, even the very type A ones that'll come to me and they'll say, you come very highly recommended. I know you're excellent and I'm not going to meditate, right? I have a couple of clients who will start our relationship that way. And I'm like, we'll see about that. Meditation is huge because when we talk about peace and we talk about aware, it is such a huge tool that enables you to become more aware. I always teach in meditation, first you're present, second your mind goes for a little walk, right? You can be in a boardroom, you go someplace else, or your mind gets hijacked by one of those voices that you're talking about, one of those negative thoughts, right? Third, you become aware. There's a little light bulb that goes on in the back of your head that says, ooh, in meditation, I'm not meditating. In life, it says, ooh, I'm someplace else. And that's the most brilliant moment, both in meditation and in life, because now that you're aware, you can choose to do something new. You can choose a different reaction or a different response. And so in meditation, it's unhooking and coming back to your breath, coming back to the guided meditation, whatever it is. In life, it's unhooking, coming back to the meeting and to the boardroom, right? Or taking a deep breath and responding differently to the trigger that just happened. And every time that you meditate, that's going to happen multiple times, right? You sit for 3 minutes. It can happen 100 times. Mind wanders, you notice it, you bring it back. And it's like going to the gym. So you're building that muscle so that when life happens, it's far easier to be response able, to be aware, to unhook from that thought and to pivot.
If someone is watching, because I know there are many young women and women out there going that they've heard they should meditate, they've heard great things about it. Yeah. Even Oprah talked about it for a while there, and they have no idea how to get started. What would you recommend for them to be able to just get started? What's the first step?
Sit and breathe. I mean, the first step, it depends on the individual, right? But I say start with 2 minutes, start with 3. It doesn't have to be this huge endeavor, which I feel is often a big stalwart for many people. It's like, I don't have 10 minutes. Well, we all have 10 minutes, but still, it's like, I don't have 10 minutes. I don't have 15 minutes. It's like, it just takes 2 minutes, 2 minutes of practicing every day. You can put on a song, that is calming and relaxing, that doesn't trigger thoughts. Insight Timer is a phenomenal app that I do love, and I'm also on Insight Timer. My meditations are on there. You can listen to me or anyone else for a couple of minutes. Notice when your mind wanders and just bring it back. Notice when it wanders and bring it back.
What does International Women's Day mean to you?
It's a representation. It's a representation, just as Veterans Day or any of the other days that we celebrate that are so important. It's a day to remember and to celebrate, to be in collaboration with, to support. But it's also a reminder that this is something that we should look to do and we can hope to do every day of our lives, right? To respect and to uphold everyone as a collective.
What do you do to have fun? Just let your hair down, relax, have fun. What's that one thing? Hey, I love that. What's that one thing you do?
She said, let your hair down, you know. The one thing that's really difficult, I love skiing. Anything outdoors.
Water or snow?
Snow. I mean, it's been a really long time since I've gone water skiing, but I would love that too. I love skiing and I love being outside in nature, playing with my pup. You know, he's always around with me. But those are things that really nourish me, and laughter and friends. I can blend all those together. I bring my friends with me on my hikes with my pup. You know, nothing's better than that.
Now, there's a lot of people out there, women and men, kids, all ages, that are saying they don't have time for fun. They don't have time for meditating. They don't have time for anything except life. And mainly they're just doing the same. They're on that hamster wheel. Yeah, they're doing that same thing over and over and over again. How important is fun in their lives?
So essential. It rewires and changes your brain. Right? When we get caught on that hamster wheel, again, we're creating the same neural pathways and we're reinforcing we don't have time. And you can probably have all the evidence in the world that you don't have time. And if you give yourself 5 minutes to meditate or 3 minutes to meditate, or you carve out a couple times a month or once a month, 30 minutes to do something that fills you up, it actually changes the chemistry of your brain. It enables something called the default mode, which is when we get our brilliant ideas. And so to me, fun is essential for living our best life because that's what we're here to do. We're here to live, right? And to enjoy and to, you know, for me, it's optimize, always optimize our lives and optimize what we have to offer this world.
Rachel, I want to thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, for being a part of International Women's Day, for putting up with all our technical difficulties and the crazy duck with the headache. It's probably somewhere meditating right now, trying to get its act together. Because good grief, this is not the time when you have one interview and there's a problem. Okay, 29? No.
It's like the worst nightmare. That's when you need to, right? But that's when you need to be able to take a deep breath because otherwise you're going to be freaking out. And when I'm
going to meditate at lunch. I'll tell you that right now. But I thank you so much for being on, and I hope you enjoy the rest of International Women's Day.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me, Tigo.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be with you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi there, I'm Peggy McCall, New York Times bestselling author and manifestation mentor. And I am the proud winner or recipient of the Network of Outstanding Women Woman of the Year Award for 2021. And the reason why I created this video is because I just wanted to share with you what an extraordinary experience it was being nominated and of course winning and being a part of something that's truly extraordinary. Throughout my career, I've been very blessed to network with some amazing individuals. And of course, being a part of this organization has really invited such a wonderful opportunity to share, to learn, to grow, to contribute. And that's what I believe that this opportunity does for every single person that's involved.
Oh, yeah. I've been waiting for this interview for somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 years. I have known this woman from afar as a fan. She became a friend, and now I am proud to call her family. This woman is a Las Vegas legend, y'all, and she's also our neon star for the Now Honors. Darkest Gates is here. Darkest, what's happening?
Hey, Tigo, how you doing, girl?
No, I'm only halfway done. I'm doing very well, very well, very well. Thank you very much.
But it's going good. I've been checking it out. You got it going on, girl.
Thank you so much. You know, I would say you're a singer, but you're more of an artist. You have been doing this for a minute.
I
You're
thought about
definitely
that
a
last
headliner.
night. Yeah, I said maybe almost 50 years I've been doing
Wow.
this. Yes. And I wouldn't
Wow.
change anything.
Wow. So what's your specialty of music? I know you're a headliner. You've been on major stages. What's your specialty? What music do you just love to sing no matter what?
I love to sing whatever the check requires me to sing. Okay? That's the truth. No, but I'm a jazz, R&B. I love torch songs. I mean, I'm a romantic at heart. So I love romantic songs. Yes, I do. That's me. That's who I am. Just that person that loves to just sit back, relax, kick my shoes off on stage, and just sing, tell my story through a song.
Now, you would be referred to in the industry as a working musician because you are constantly working. This isn't a habit or a hobby. This is something that you do on a regular basis, right?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I do every Friday night. I don't literally sing all the time, but it's like work to go out and find different artists and to sit and talk with them and help them cultivate their gifts. And I do this in my own restaurant on Friday nights. It's called Darkest After Dark. It goes live on Facebook. And periodically, I get a band and I get up there and I do me, which is an honor to do me when I get to do me. But, you know, after doing it, oh, wow. What did I do it in Vegas? Over almost 30 years, night after night after night after night after night after night. Yeah, this little bit of break is good, but I still miss it. So I look forward to when I'm doing it. But I have some exceptional talent right here in Kansas City that people do not even know exist here. You know, Kansas City is noted for blues, jazz, and barbecue. But, you know, we also have fountains. But there's just this talent that's just gone unnoticed. And for me in Las Vegas, it was all about somebody threw the rope back and pulled me up. And I never forgot that. And as a result, I have to say, I think that my blessings came from throwing the rope back and helping someone else. I mean, I worked all the time in Vegas, and it was a known fact. If you were new in town, all you had to do was walk in on Dorcas's gig, say you sang, you played an instrument, you were a comedian or whatever. She was going to give you the opportunity. And a lot of times I never even thought about the repercussions of putting my gig in jeopardy. It was just a natural thing for me to say, hey, you said you're a singer? Come on. Let me see what you're working with. You know?
I've watched you do that so many times. So many times. Now, when you left Vegas, I can't even remember. It's been at least 4 or 5 years, I think, since you moved back to Kansas. But when you left Vegas, hasn't it? Has it been about 4 or 5 years or longer?
But girl, it's been longer. But
Really?
I'm out there so much, yes. Because
You're out
that's
here so
home
much.
for
I
me.
think you still live down the road.
Yeah, that's home for me. So I come out. I try to come out once a month, twice a month. You know, with the pandemic, it stretched out a little more. I don't get out there as often as I'd love to get out. But that's home. Yes. I mean, I live in Kansas City. It's home too. But Vegas is where I grew up. Yes.
I know. Now, when you left, the rumor had it Darkest was taking a step back. She was going to semi-retire. She was going to relax and hang out with the family. I haven't seen any of that. I mean, you guys have, you know, one of the most successful barbecue chains in the country. You know, let's talk about that for a few minutes. And like you said, every Friday night, you either are on stage or someone is on your stage. So what happened to putting your foot up, relaxing?
You just can't do it. I have an aunt that's 91 years old, and she would say to me, and I'd say, Aunt Helen, what's your secret? She said, you got to keep moving. You got to keep moving. And that's exactly what I do. I keep moving. But people got to understand with me, entertainment and music is not what I do. That's who I am. So when I stop being me, I no longer exist. So I have to keep giving and doing and being who I am. The singer, the performer, the entertainer, the wife, the how may I help you girl, all of that. It goes hand in hand. It's just me. Yeah. But I lead a normal life now. I lead a normal life.
Now, when somebody's out there, a young woman, a young man, they're singing in their mirrors right now. They're rehearsing. How do you stay ready so you don't have to get ready? What advice would you give them?
Well, first of all, you do have to get ready, because every performance, every performer, anywhere that any person that's ever gotten on a stage, and probably you too, you get butterflies, you get a little nervous. Am I going to be good? Do I remember the lyrics? Is the band going to show up? Are the people going to like me? All of that comes into play. So you have to know who you are and say, I'm just going out there and I'm going to do the best that I can do and give you the best of me. And that's all you can ask.
If you weren't a singer and you didn't own one of the most famous barbecue places on the planet, which you still have, there it is. I was great. You still haven't said the name, on the planet. There's the Kansas City Chiefs, we know, and then there's Gates Barbecue. These are two staples in Kansas City. And there you go. If you weren't doing that, what would you be doing?
I'd probably be a writer, a comic writer, because I've written a book. It's called Everybody's Got an Uncle Gibby, Don't You? I like to take stories of things that have happened in my life, because everybody's got an uncle, a cousin, a friend, or somebody that comes to your house that totally disrupts everything, just drives you crazy. You got that. And so I just took a few of my personal stories and wrote about my uncle, because he's a character, girl. Everybody's got one, and I got one. And that's what this is about. Yes, I'd be a writer, because I see stories. You could tell me something today and say, this happened to me. Well, as tragic as it may have been to you, I always look for the humor, the lightness in a story. And that's what I do. And that's what I probably would be doing full time.
We are doing the Now Honors. You know that. We're doing the Now Honors. We had to move it because there's a mega event happening in May that would have just made everything so miserable for everybody trying to get around town. So we moved it to October, and it turned out to be a much better time of date for us, October 14th and 15th, because breast cancer is a major part of both of our lives. We lost a major friend and an amazing singer herself, Mickey Brown, to breast cancer. It's been quite a few years now, but it feels like yesterday to me. I know it feels like yesterday to you, and I'm really happy to have this happening in October so we can honor the memories of our good friends and family, but also talk about the survivors. And that's why we created the Pink Power Pink Summit. We're going to bring women in from all over the world and talk about how y'all can do it. But in the middle of this, Miss Darkus has said that she would, one, be our first Las Vegas Neon Star. She will be our Neon Star recipient, and I can't think of a better way to start that honor than with you. And then on top of that, Queens of Harmony. Miss Darkus said, let me see what I can put together. And you are bringing back the Queens of Harmony.
Yes, I am.
Literally sing the paint off the walls.
Yes,
at the reception after the Now Honors. Can you just give me a little taste of what we can expect from the queens of Harmony?
In actuality, the name says it all. The Queens of Harmony. There are 4 of us. There's Paris Red, there's Ivana Christie, there's Reggie Brown, and myself. And through the years, we just kind of got together and we would sing together because, in Vegas, Monday nights, most of the casino rooms were closed. So we'd get together, we'd hook up, and we'd meet at my house, and we have a piano, and we play, and we started singing some songs together. From that, we would go in on each other's gigs and sit in and sing. We were like, hey, we got a little something here. So then we just formed a little group, and we called ourselves the Queens of Harmony. But we're really sisters in song. We really are. We have this mutual bond between us that you just cannot break. And music intertwines us all. And I say, everyone on this earth was born to music, because the first thing that starts is the heart.
Yeah, the beat,
and it keeps
rhythm.
It keeps us all joined together. And so that's kind of what we are about, is a sisterhood and keeping the music alive and expressing ourselves individually and as a unit. So when we get there in October, girl, we're gonna make it hot.
I know you going. The first time I heard the Queens of Harmony, I believe it was the first time, I literally was pulled in from the hallway by the music. It was like I had to see where those amazing voices were coming from. And we're doing this at 9:20. Everybody knows we're doing this at 9:20, and it's a standalone, event center.
Mhm.
But I got a feeling when y'all take the mic, we gonna have cars backed up outside. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be amazing. And I have to thank you for being our neon star. I mean,
It's such
there's
an
so
honor.
much talent in Las Vegas that never gets acknowledged and never, yes, we have the main shows, the Cirque and all of that, but honestly, those artists don't really ever get acknowledged either. It's the
No.
show itself that does. And we want to change that. I hope to eventually one day create an award show just for Vegas. That's always been a plan. You and I
That would
sat
be
down and talked
wonderful.
about that
Yes.
years ago.
Yes.
And that's always been a plan. I would love to do that because these people, 112-degree heat, no mic working, no air conditioning. It's 120 degrees inside. Vegas don't sleep, and the show must go
The
on.
show must go on.
And you guys take those stages and burn down the house with literally sometimes a guitarist, because the power's having problems.
That's right.
At that moment, and you take it. I want to thank you so much. It is such an honor to present you with that Neon Star Award when we do this in October. I can't wait. And I'm so excited. And thank you so much because I know you're an artist. I know you have several businesses. We touched on 2. We'll get her back on to talk about others. But I want to thank you for taking out the
I
time.
lost your sound, but can you
got
hear
my
me?
sound now? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Did you lose me? Okay.
No.
I can't hear
Alan,
you.
can you hear
but
me?
It's okay. I'm so
Okay,
excited to be there in October. And I want you to know, along with myself and the Queens of Harmony, we're dedicating our performance to our girlfriend, Miss Mickey Brown, because she had an amazing presence. She had a phenomenal voice, and she was a wonderful friend. She was my true girlfriend. And for you, Tigo, I want to tell you, you and me, girl, go a long way back.
Thank you so much. You're amazing.
You're
You are
welcome.
the best. Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too.
Emmett, do you want to play with me? Yeah, I can't play right now. I'm doing show notes.
Hi there, I'm Peggy McCall, New York Times bestselling author and manifestation mentor. And I am the proud winner or recipient of the Network of Outstanding Women Woman of the Year Award for 2021. And the reason why I created this video is because I just wanted to share with you what an extraordinary experience it was being nominated and, of course, winning and being a part of something that's truly extraordinary. Throughout my career, I've been very blessed to network with some amazing individuals. And of course, being a part of this organization has really invited such a wonderful opportunity to share, to learn, to grow, to contribute. And that's what I believe that this opportunity does for every single person that's involved.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Alan, can you hear me? I want to make sure my sound is on. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to wrap up this morning and go to lunch. And I can't think of a better way to wrap up than with Dr. Andrea Adams Miller. Talk about the woman that's everywhere at an event, and you make sure you connect with her every chance you get. Hey, Andrea, are you out there?
I'm here. I'm so glad to see you, Teresa. On a day like this, why shouldn't we be celebrating you, me, and all the women in the world, huh?
You are amazing. I see you again. I've met so many amazing people through Secret Knock, and I see you running around, usually in red. You're in red today, usually in red,
Always.
running around with your camera, and you're getting all the best shots in the world. What got you started as the red carpet connection? Where did that
Well,
come from?
the red carpet connection, actually, my friends named me that. So I own multiple businesses, and I owned an intimacy and relationship business, which I still own and do it just word of mouth. I had an international radio show for years, and I started doing all this amazing publicity, and people found out. They're like, wait, you were on 2020, you were on CNN, like, all these amazing people, you connect with them all. You're the red carpet connection. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay. And they said, I want to hire you to help me with publicity and connecting with others. And I'm like, okay. And so the next thing we know, the business is born.
Wow. So what, for the people out there that maybe have heard the word publicist, they've heard the words, public relations, they've heard PR, all of that. What does being a publicist actually mean? What do you do?
Well, I'm not a traditional publicist by any means. I go above and beyond and do things that other people just don't do. Really, what it's become is a conglomerate of knowing a lot of people around the world. I truly care about people and who they are and where their heart and soul and mission is. And so by focusing on that, I'm able to spin this Rolodex in my head and think, oh, Teresa should be connected to that person, and that person should be connected to that person. And I mean, should in a loving way. Like that would be a great opportunity for both of them to excel their business, their personal life, whatever it is that they want to achieve, their nonprofit. And so by doing that, I'm a person who's a go-getter. So if you want something done, I'm going to get on the phone and I'm going to call and I'm going to make things happen. Teresa, I'm literally called from all over the world. When people don't know what else to do, they call me. So, for example, I had a gentleman who is creating a new way of living on the ocean. And he called me and said, I met you 3 years ago, and I knew if anybody could help make this come true, it would be you. And
Wow.
we only had spoken briefly, and he just said, you just stuck out in my mind as I need to find her. And in the past, I had someone call me because they had a Spanish soccer player who had reached his age limit. And I know nothing about soccer, by the way. And yet they called me and said, can you help us get a team to even interview him? So I started calling soccer teams all over the world and see if I could get him an interview, just because that was his dream to at least have a shot. So it's situations like that that people call me because I'm willing to make those calls. I'm willing to reach out. There you go.
How important is it to be connected, to get connected? People have great business ideas, they have great businesses, but other than their friends, family, and their Facebook followers, they don't reach out to anyone. How important is it to reach out, open your mouth, get connected?
Very important. So over the last year, I started calling people on their birthdays, and they are literally shocked because when I ask them for their birthday, that's always kind of weird to begin with. Because who asks you what your birthday is on your first meeting? We talked about that, Teresa, and
Yes, we did.
and security can be awkward for people as well. And but I actually call them, and it's so funny. The other day, I called somebody, and he was like, oh my gosh, you actually called me. And I'm like, yeah. And then in between that, I just randomly call people. I'll go through my phone and be like, I haven't talked to Teresa lately. Book, and call her and call you and see what you're doing. What are you up to? How can I help serve you in your world? And by doing that, people feel honored and loved because I'm not calling them to sell anything. I'm just calling to love on them.
That's amazing. So what's next for you? What's coming up next? I know you got 15 things going on, but what's the next 2 things that are coming up?
Always, always. Well, I'm ready to do a launch through the Red Carpet Connection and through the cryptocurrency that I'm attached to. So we're going to be
Mhm.
showing people how they can live a red carpet connection, how they can be living red, how they can be connected, how they can be more. So B is BEE. And it's all about showing them a different membership and a different way of life so that they are connected to other people. Because it's not about networking is important, but it's deeper than that. Yeah, I can know about what you do in a profession, but when I really care who you are, when you really care who other people are, they really care about you, and you can make things happen bigger than you ever anticipated.
For someone out there, maybe there's a young lady or someone that's my age, that's looking for a second career, and they say, I love talking to people. I love connecting. I love knowing, little things about them so I can say happy anniversary, happy birthday, and remember them, but they don't know how to get started. What would you tell them? How do they get started in their community being a connector?
Well, part of being a connector too is you have to think about how to monetize it as well, because I spend
Mhm.
hundreds of thousands of dollars going to events and meeting people. And in the past, I would just connect them and hope that it would come around and expect that karma will someday come around for me. And then I realized, yes, sometimes it does. And sometimes people forget that you
Mhm.
connected them. And then you remind them, hey, that $1 million deal you did. And they're like, oh, thanks. Here's some coffee. And I realized that wasn't monetizing. So I realized that I need to be clear when I meet people that that's what it is, that's what we're doing, that's how we show up in the world, as we give them that opportunity to connect, and that we do like an affiliate plan together. What do they do? What do they have? And how can it be so that they can make money, we can make money, and so that people are living that life of connection, but being able to connect to each other in a really valuable way that is more than money, because your relationship capital is more than money. Yeah.
What does International Women's Day mean to you?
Well, it was interesting. I grew up as a kid, and my later years, I was doing a living history presentations for women all the way around the world who wanted to be able to showcase who they were. So I would go into schools in the month of March and act out these women in history, Judith Resnick and other, women of distinction, Eleanor Roosevelt, and pretend to be them. And I realized that these women had not always been seen. And Beatrix Potter, like she published this article all about fungi and mushrooms, but all of her articles and information was not being carried out. She had to publish through her uncle because nobody would see her work and what she did.
Mhm.
And so I want all of us to be able to be seen and heard, men and women alike. We all deserve to be seen and heard. Mhm.
That's amazing. I want to thank you. I know you have an extremely busy schedule, and to take out the time to come and hang out with me on International Women's Day, that is awesome. You are amazing.
Well, thank you. And I encourage people to connect with me. Come to www.theredcarpetconnection.com and I'll show you what I'm up to with this new membership using NFTs, teaching people about cryptocurrency and connection and how we can all be responsible for ourselves to be more than what we are now and really live our worlds and rock it.
Well, I thank you so much for hanging out. We're going to take a quick break. Actually, I believe we just wrapped up the morning session. So we're about to take a lunch break for everybody out there that's watching. You guys, this stream is going to close and a new one will open up at 1:00. We only been through half of the women we're talking to today, including Dr. Andrea. Dr. Andrea, you are the best. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you. Keep smiling.
All righty.
Hey mate, do you want to play with me? Yeah, I can't play right now. I'm doing show notes.
Yep. So like I said, I thank everybody for watching this morning and hanging out with us. We've had technical difficulties. My producer looks like a ghost because he's having a screen issue. It's been a morning, but we're getting through it and we're having a blast. And these women are sharing their message and we are done with just half. So if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching it, look for the next stream, which will be right below this one, that is going to start at 1:00 because I'm going to go eat so I have enough energy to do the next 15 interviews. I hope you've enjoyed this morning. We're only getting started. And for the law nerds that are out there, Emily Baker is coming. So make sure you guys come back. All right. I'll talk to you soon. And as always, I'm Tigo. I'll see you in an hour.